Hey, everybody. Welcome to our poker coaching study session. We're studying cash games, and we're going to look right now at some opening charts and see how they change based on the opening bet size. So the tool we're using here this is GTO Wizard, and this quarter is the two big blind open. This is the 2.5 big blind open. This is I'm sorry, 2.25 is here. You're 2.25. You are 2.5, and you are 3.0. Those are what we're looking at. And while we don't need to know these, I'm not saying that you should memorize 4 different versions of these charts. I want to just see how the construction changes, how extreme it is. So we have a sense of that. So if you're a 3 big blind opener, understand how much wider you could be at 2. And then the more important thing is when you are defending, how do you change your defense against their opening sizes? Because you can't control their opening sizes or their ranges, but you should have a GTO sense of how big they change, and it's big. So starting here in the under the gun, we only have 6-handed charts for this. We do not have 9-handed charts. So we're going to start in the low jack, and this low jack chart you're looking at in all 4 of these should look pretty familiar. You should go, yeah, that's about what I'm doing. And if this is not about what you're doing, you might want to study. But take a look here at the 3 big blind one. Look at 8s, 7s, 6s, 5s compared to 2 big blinds, 2.5, 2.25, and 2.5. You can't even open 8s full frequency in the low jack at 3 big blinds. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That is a huge difference. The other difference is Queen 9 and Queen 8 suited, Jack 9 suited. Queen 9 suited here, no, Jack 9 suited, Queen 9 suited here, and here, only Queen 10 and not even all your Jack 10 for 3 big blinds. And the Ace 5 becomes more prominent as you get bigger. Those are the major changes I see. Anybody
Hey,
see
Scotty,
important? Yeah.
real quick, the upper left quadrant, is that sitting on hijack's range? Where
I'm
the
an
other
idiot.
3 are
Thank
all
you.
under the gun?
Oh, I'm an idiot. Thank you. There we go. I just hit the wrong button. Yes, now they're all under the gun. Everything I said was wrong, except for this. 9s, 8s, 7s still are opening pure here. 9s, 8s, 7s pure. 9s, 8s pure. 7s go away. And here, not even 8s, 7s, 6s, or 5s are pure. Again, you still have this Queen 9 suited is playing, Queen 9 suited is playing, Queen 9 suited is playing. Not even all the Jack 10 suited is playing. You got Queen 10. And then in your offsuit branch, the interesting thing to me is at 2 big blinds, you don't open Ace 5 at all. The Ace 5 increases, kind of like the bigger you bet, the more folds you get, so you can play the Ace 5. Something like that. Now hijack. Anybody see anything else interesting in that comparison? All right. So either nobody else saw it or nobody else is here. I'm okay with both of those.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're here.
Right. Hijack, we're gonna see the same thing with our Queen 8 suited that we mix at 2.5, is pure at 2 and is not even there at 3. The difference between 2.5 and 3. Big. Jack 9 suited and 10-9 suited, playing half the time, playing basically not at all. Jack, Queen 8, not at all. Pairs to the 6s, pairs to the 7s, kind of full, But this feature here, your Queen 5 suited, 5-4 suit, your 6-5 suited, 5-4 suited area that's always in the opening bluff range is still in all of them. A little more prominent in the smaller sizes, but it's always there. And again, the Ace 5 is the one that's specifically more prominent in your 3 big blind range. You can get away with it, I guess. Without getting into too much detail, the cutoff's going to look similar. I'm gonna believe, I've never looked at this, but I'm gonna believe that we're gonna start seeing the same pattern. Yep, the Queen 6 and the queen six and jack seven that you've got in the cutoff at 2.5. This, by the way, is not at all what the 2.5 range for GTO Wizard looks like. When you give it post flop. So there are some different assumptions. This is not the range that I use.
Yeah,
Like
that makes it kind of, that kind of is unfortunate. That
it's
the
unfortunate.
pre-flop only 2.5 RFIs do not match the post-flop.
Right. And it would be really nice to find out what is the different assumption, because I asked them and they said, I asked them and somebody said, well, it's the size difference. I go, nope, both at 2.5. He says, well, it's the 3-bet size difference. Nope, both are the same 3-bet sizes. It's the rate. Nope, they're both NL50. Every setting that you can do in GTO Wizard is the same between the two, but some underlying assumption is missing. Something about their response range. But again, this is not the pattern difference that we're seeing here is still strong. We're seeing that in this suited region here, in the edges of your suited region, every time your 3 big blinds has got to be way tighter than than these, and your offsuit region, your offsuit aces are more prominent in the 3, and your pairs aren't as strong. You get, look at your pairs at 2 big blinds.
Yeah.
Four.
So I think, the takeaway from this is that as we RFI bigger, we have less 0 EV RFIs.
And they move, and they move from the edges of your suited region down into your offsuit aces.
Yeah.
That's what's more prominent. King 9 offsuit is similarly prominent in all of them, a little less. Yeah, but it's the aces. That's where it moves to. And the total is also different. 28% to, I have to move my meeting chat out of the way, 28.9 to 27.8 to 25. Interesting that this is actually lower. That 2.25 opens a tiny bit wider than 2 point, but that's noise in the system. But this is not noise in the system. 28.8 compared to 25.9. That's not noise in the system. That's real, I believe. And then just looking through it for fun, we're going to assume the button's going to look similar. I'm not going to learn this, but we're going to just note it. Exactly. We're seeing the exact same thing we expected here. Ace 4 to ace 3, all the way to some ace deuce here. Your offsuit kings. You get this little bit of king 7 and 2.5 that you don't have in any of the others. Not important. And now you've got all your pairs, so it's just this region that's missing. And we ignore this.
Pocket
Right.
deuces and pocket threes go away
Yeah.
completely in the button.
Yeah, that's big. And here they're going to be pure.
I mean, who's folding those? Even if you had a 3 big blind pre-flop raise, would you ever consider folding a pocket pair?
On the button?
Yeah, I never would have before this.
On the button, the twos, I mix two. I play a strategy that looks like this. I have a mixed 2 strategy on the button.
Yeah, I'm not folding in position on the button.
Yeah, but not 3. But nothing like this. Nothing like deuces folding pure, 3s folding almost pure. Now here's where here's the part that I think is important to note. So we do that to get a sense of what they're doing. And this implies the following response.
So yeah, go back to UTG where it's going to be the most dramatic, I think.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to do it from the button because it's easier to go back. Well, I'll do UTG and then I'll jump to the button. Because UTG raises. UTG raises to 2. UTG raises to 2.25. Please be 2.25. Be very bad if I had the wrong charts up here this whole time. 2.5. And UTG raises to 3 big blinds. Like a live cash game boss. And now, big blind responses. This 2.5 big blind response should be really familiar. Come on, big blind. Thank you. Big blind, big blind.
Yeah,
If
that's dramatic.
if you've been playing with the wizard and the wizard post flop solver, this is the range that you should be very familiar with. This, all the offsuit to, gappers. I mean, all the suited gappers play down to here. This tail is very robust. And as your raise comes later and later, you start to widen this tail with the jack eight and the 10-7 and the 9-6, and eventually the 8-5 comes in all the way to the button where you have the 6-3. That's the pattern here. But this part here is so robust that you just automatically know. I always play 10-8, I always play 9-7. And there aren't very many raises in this area. There are some. When you get to the, you get the little zigzag here and things like that. But if you lost every 2-gapper raise and just did your suited connector raises, you would be fine. But here's the thing that nobody, I think, of us is adjusting for, and it's huge. Look at the 3 big blind chart. There is not a 2-gapper in there.
Yeah, you're defending, well, you're calling a third of hands, which is dramatic.
Yeah, and look here against a 2 big blind open. You are already at 3 gappers, 4 gappers. These don't even come in. Jacks, yeah, it's jack 8, 10-7. These don't even come in against the cutoff. We're not even playing these. Is my memory on 2.5. And yet here we are playing them against the low jack. Move into the hijack, we're just going to see the same really extreme pattern. So we have to, I'm going to jump to the button because that allows me to go back faster. So under the gun folds, under the gun folds, under the gun folds, under the gun folds. Now we go to a button raise to 2. A button raise to 2.5, button raise to, 2.25, button raise to 2.5, and button raise to 3. Now, what is the big blind's response? All right. So this is the one that I'm familiar with, and that probably you guys are, which is the 2.5. And you'll see here's where you get your 9-6 and your 8-5 and your 7-4. And you notice this is what we were seeing in the other one, right? We were seeing 10-6 and 9-5 and 8-4, right? In our 2 big blind chart.
Yeah.
Versus the gun. Yeah. So they're not even there. Yeah, because it was 10-7, 9. Yeah, 10-7 and 9-6 come in. He was at 10-6 and 9-5 and 8-4 against a 2 big blind open. I'm going to make sure that I didn't remember that wrong. But they're not even here against the button. Now, looking here against 2 big blinds, it's just everything. This is almost a tournament range. Against 2.25. This is starting to look cash gamey. This is the one we're familiar with. And this, we don't even have 7-5 and 6-4 suited 5-3 or 3-4 at full frequency against a 3 big blind open. Anybody making this adjustment?
I am making some adjustments, but not that dramatic.
This is tighter than the 2.5 low jack open. This is tighter, by the way, than the 2.5 low jack -1. This is tighter than low jack -2. This is tighter than low jack, than big blind versus under the gun. These are all calls versus under the gun. 7-5 is pure. 6-5. I'll show it to you at some point. But this is ridiculously tighter than I've been playing it. I've been treating 3 big blind opens like 2.5s. It's going, oh, he opened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
This is,
know I have an observation because excuse me, I study the 2.5 chart is where I study it, right? So I'm looking at your 2.5 open here on the what am I looking at right now? It's open on the button, right?
the
And
button
then this is your
then
defense
big blind
range.
defense. This is big
So
blind's
yes,
defense.
this looked different to me. Like I was like, that looks weird. And it is different in the pre-flop only versus post-flop included. Like
Yep.
this is considerably different.
Yeah. Where's where's this part of the range? Where's the ace 4, ace 5? I mean, ace 4 and ace 5 are pure raises. Or no, ace 4 is a half raise, ace 5 is pure. Where's this stuff? Down here, we should have lots of stuff here, and we don't. So again, this is a function of the different assumptions, and I do not know what those different assumptions are. The raise size is 13.5. That's different. It's
Yep, it's because it's 13.
It's supposed to be, what is it? In our world, it's 12, right?
13.
It's 13? Okay.
Yeah. And it's 12
small
on
blind is
the
11.
small blind, and they have 11. So yeah, it's just
So so they've changed that. So they've changed some 3-bet sizing there, even though they call it the same 3-bet size. So that goes into it. And since you know that your big blind is going to be doing 13.5 when he responds to you, that changes your opening range a little bit. But I'm not intending to learn the subtlety of this region of the raises in the tail, you know, whether I think my big blind is going to raise me to 12 or 13 or 13.5. I'm sorry, when I'm making that decision. But the amount of adjustment here, and yes, here was I confirmed it. This is our low jack, big blind versus the low jack raise. Yes, all the way to jack 7, which is huge. And here, this is big blind against the button. Not even 9-6 and 8-5.
Yeah, I think the takeaways from this is what part of our range contracts or expands,
Yep.
and to understand how the shape changes.
Yep.
And
And
which is another way I think of saying, where are the 0 EV defense?
right. And the amplitude of the change.
Can you
Okay.
lift the action bar up, like to get rid of the action bars on those? Because
Yeah.
I want to see the aces range.
Yeah.
And on the 3 or the 2 big blind raise as well.
Oh, I didn't do it. Yep. There we go. Let's get those up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And remember, this is low jack. This is not our 2 big blind one is low jack, not button. I'll go back to the button now. So we're comparing like to like. I just to jump over and remember that. Button raises. Folds, button raises. And then the only other thing I think worth looking at in this, for now, to not be overwhelmed, is let's look at the ranges that 3-bet. Let's look at like cutoff versus under the gun for each of these and see how our 3-betting response changes. So we have an under the gun raise to 2. We have an under the gun raise to 2.5, 2.25, an under the gun raise to 2.5. I talk for a living. And an under the gun raise to 3. I'm gonna be talking about GPUs for AI next week. That's what I'm gonna talk about.
Ooh,
Well,
Yes, ooh, and even worse, I'm gonna do a magic trick. Oh my God. It's so ugly. I'm so
are you,
bad at magic.
are
Oh,
you just gonna use like Chat GPT to get your AI speech prepared?
no, I know, I wrote, it's all, we already wrote it. It's about
The
eight
first
pages.
thing I noticed is that there's calling ranges here.
Yes. Let's go to, oh, that was our raise. Yeah. The hijack has some calling ranges here.
And
Yeah.
in the post flop included, they do not.
Yeah,
yeah,
yep. Here we go. But let's look at, let's just look at, cutoff's not gonna have a lot of calls, right? So cutoff action, cutoff action,
so this is UTG RFI
UTG RFI, and here
cutoff
we
reaction.
cut off with some calls that we are not planning on making yet. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, it is interesting that so neither poker coaching nor the post flop sims have any flats.
Yeah, yep.
So this is an interesting perspective.
Yeah. So looking at this, quick look, very similar. Very similar responses. What's the major differences here?
Yeah, you're right, they're very similar.
Look, this, yeah, I mean, sure, you're 9-9, you can't play the 9-9-8-8-7-7 against him because he doesn't have the lower ones. And here, so yeah, so our pairs, but but it's nothing like the opening change. 10-10's pure, 10-10's a little fold, 10-10's a little fold, 10-10's a lot of fold. 9-9's, you could just fold all your 9-9-8-8-7-7 and lose very little of, and not be a problem. Whereas here, against a two big blind open, you should be doing some of this, right? You gotta at least put your 7-7s and 8-8s and 9-9s and play 9 and never fold 9-9 for simplifying this range against a two big blind open. Whereas this one, you take all this and you cram it into 10-10 and it fills up 10-10. And you guys know what I mean by about you take all this and cram it in there, right? I don't need to explain what that is.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Good.
do.
Yeah, good. That's what I figured. So yeah, so here we're gonna go, if we want to simplify this range, 9-9 is never folding. Here, 9-9 is never folding. Here, yeah, I don't think it gets down to 8-8 here. But here, 9-9 folds pure and we can play 10-10. The suited aces region stays pretty similar. We have the ace deuce in this one as a freak, and then it goes away. The ace three is, so this idea that ace deuce is more prominent in 2.25 than it is in 2 is weird. It must come out of somewhere else in the aces. And yeah, it comes out of ace 7, unimportant. Because I would call that overspecified, meaning this is specifically because of what the low jacks range, how it's changed, and people are not playing those ranges. So that difference is overspecified, but the idea still isn't that just what you can afford to do against those raise sizes. Okay.
Yeah, and it's weird because you see the two extremes. You see the two big blind raise first in, compare it to the three big blind raise first in.
Yeah.
When you're looking at like the big blind defense strategy, you saw the stark differences.
Yeah.
Here, you're right. It's pretty similar. Like they're not really all that different.
Right. And what's the percentages? 7.7 and 2.4 compared with, I got to slide it over for mine, 7 and 1. Yeah. They're not that different. Okay. The one thing we can start with here, we could dive a little deeper for it if we want, is the ratio of raises to calls that's significantly more extreme. And I think that this is a real thing and a concept worth learning because it's something that Nick pointed out when he was studying and sharing that and teaching, was the idea that as their raise size increases, we become more polar.
Yeah,
Now, that wasn't a huge difference in my play because I wasn't doing any calling in the cutoff and the hijack. I was only calling on the button. So that's the only place it affected. Let's look at the button. Button's action. This is button versus the low jack raise. Button versus low jack raise. Pretty standard poker thing, button versus low jack. This comes up all the time. All right. Now, 7.9 compared to 4.2, 7.4 compared to 4.3. Again, that weird difference between those two. 7.4 compared to 3.6, and then 7 compared to 2.5. That is, the 3 is significantly more polar than this. This is a big difference. And the difference we're looking at is the ratio of raises to calls on the button. Not just the fact that we have 7% raises here and 7.9 here is not the important thing. It's when you play, you are raising 2.4% more here, and here not even twice as much. Here 1 point, what is that? 1.7? 1.6, something like that. I'm not going to calculate it, but it's a lot, that difference. And where do the raises, where are the calls turning into raises here? Who's missing? These areas look similar. In other words, the ratio of pairs. Actually, here we go. That's where it is. It's in the ratio of your 10s and 9s and 8s. Just by eye, you can see that these guys are about half, and these guys are doing about 3/4 calling.
that makes sense. I mean, you're essentially set mining and
Yeah.
you're getting a better price.
Yep. All right. That's enough for me for now for this. Anybody, anything else we want to look at on this concept?
I think this is a good summation.
Okay, good. That was fun. All right. Anybody got marked hands?
Sure.
Let's do marked
Yeah,
hands.
I can always bring marked hands, you know
Let's
that.
mark those hands. All right.
Do we
Grab
want to
the,
do like 1 or 2 each and then switch around?
that sounds good. Yeah. So anybody who's ready, grab the screen.
I don't have mine ready, Larry. Why don't you go?
Okay, let me just find a good one.
Okay. While you're finding that, I bet I have, do I have this sitting up right now?
That's the one I've got. So, okay, I got one.
All right.
Everyone else is ready?
Yep, we're ready.
So, I think this is a mistake on my part. Shocker. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, this is the action. Small RFI open. Healthy 3-bet, right? So
Yep.
4x in position 3-bet. Which size are you guys gonna use?
About 2.7. So 16, 20, 22.
Yeah, I'd probably go to 21.
Yeah,
Or
same
21,
difference.
22. Yep.
And this is a This is where it gets interesting. So, okay. So he chooses to flat. I think he, in theory, has very little flats here.
He has, I think he has no flats.
Yeah, there's no flats. Yeah, I
Zero.
think you're right. So he flats. Now this is a reg 3032.
Mhm.
And I would describe him as tight aggressive. And he shoves. The
Fold.
original three-way shoves.
It's not it's not in the GTO thing, but I'm folding this and I can tell you why.
Okay, so there's a couple pieces here. I call.
Yep.
He has aces. So the question is, do I have any indicators as to if I can fold this?
Yes,
If he,
And the answer is yes. The first indicator is that I've got the unsuited portion, unsuited variety. So if we put this into a solver, we couldn't have this guy with dead money. That changes something. But
Yeah.
if we put this into a solver, this
That
is a
changes.
mix.
that changes big time, that dead money.
Yeah, it does. I think that it makes ace the suited version of this a call. I'm not sure if it. Yeah, maybe. Do you think it makes? Well, what do you think, Mike? Do you think this makes the unsuited version of this a call?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I'm opposite of Scotty. I think this is a you have to call here. Because, and especially because it's a reg as opposed to like a fish who may not just jam bluffier hands or worse hands, or might just flat queens or something like that. I think your pot odds are too good here.
I see your point. Yeah, this is a winning rate. I mean, this is a tight, aggressive winning rate. So maybe this is a good call, because in game I was thinking exactly what you're talking about, right? That we've got dead money here that might be inducing him to show a wider range. He's clearly, he's probably capped unless he's trapping or blocking traps. So I did decide to call it, and he's got aces.
right. So here's my reason that I said the fast fold here.
Can I just give one more
Oh yeah, go on.
rationale for folding?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to. I want to see if you're thinking the same thing I think, essentially. So the one thing I think that's important that might be a size of tell, and you guys told me this is ridiculous. He didn't shove, right? He chose to go on his table and type in 94.6, right?
Yes,
Which is a little less than what we have.
yes,
So he's not shoving. He's putting in 94.6, which looks maybe in his head face or his head less intimidating than all in with those 170 big blind stack.
You want to know what I think he did? And we can get into intent here, and it's all just a bunch of speculation anyway. I think he slid the slider over and just didn't get it over all the way.
Yeah, or that maybe that. But I think there's intention here.
there's
I think he's a good player, and I think that he, of course, wants to get calls, but he's not going to flat aces multi-way.
Right.
And he's not going to click it back because that's just so obvious.
Right. If he clicks it back and you go all in, then 74.55, his fold becomes easier. Because
And he might be shoving
Right,
too
because
because he doesn't
both of
want
you
to
are-
do some multi-way.
if he does this and you call, you haven't done another aggressive act in front of 74.55. But that's not my reasoning.
Okay, yeah. So what was your reason before?
My reasoning is this. Reasons to call. 74.55 is put in 23 big blinds. So when we coin flip against 30-32's queens, when he has it, what a great coin flip. With 20, we've got
Yeah,
that.
with the dead
Like
one.
that. Except let's range 74.55. He's got pocket pairs like jacks and tens and queens that might play this way, right? So if 30-32 is doing this with ace king or ace king suited, we are no longer flipping against 74.55. We are in terrible shape.
We're
because-
never flipping against 30-32.
Right, but I'm saying if 74.55 calls with his queens or jacks or tens here, when you go, after your call. We don't know he's going to, but if he does, and, so your calls against 30-32 are great when he has ace queen suited. They are great when he has ace five suited. They are bad when he has aces and kings, and they're okay when he's got queens, right?
Yeah,
Normally. And what I'm saying is that the existence of 74-55 does two terrible things. It makes your playing ace king against 30-32's ace king very bad if 74-55 stays in,
yeah, I see your point.
right? Because you
Yeah.
now have 4 outs to split the pot.
Yeah, we block each other's outs.
Yes, so that's terrible. Now, what does the rest of 74-55's range look like that he makes this call? Good,
Uh,
suited-
yeah,
good suited
so-
aces that aren't ace king suited,
Or set money.
but any pair is the same to you. Deuces are the same to you. He has a pair, which messes with your ace king versus ace king if he stays in.
Well, we won't get into
Great if he
counterfeiting,
folds it
but yeah,
against ace king. But when you're against 30-32's queens, 74-55, the other part of his range is high suited aces.
yeah, and even if he folds, we can
Even if he
assume that
folds,
part of his range is
that's an ace
blocking
out of
our outs.
That's an ace out of the deck. So now your flips against 30-32, where you didn't mind your ace king against his queens because you had 6 outs 5 times. You have 5 outs 5 times.
Yeah,
And
that's your point.
is that enough to make up? Does the extra 23 big blinds make up for that? Yuck. And then there's all the signals you said of this being aces or kings. So that's why.
Yeah, yeah. So I think, the bottom line is your argument is that even his call, fold, to shove range includes a significant amount of ace X, which is gonna block our odds.
Exactly. He had folded. I just call. So,
Yeah.
well,
So
See, that's where I think if he folds, it's worse for you.
right, because you don't have the extra 23 big blinds.
Yeah.
Yep. I acknowledge that, and that's what I said, saying, is that enough to make up for you're probably being 5 outs against his queens instead of 6 outs against his queens.
So if he folds, you guys are saying it's worse because he's folding. His most likely combos are like ace queen suited, ace jack suited.
No, when he calls the 23, his most likely combos are strong pocket pairs that he didn't are jacks.
Mhm.
We'll just call jacks.
When he calls the pocket pairs, are he did here, or when he calls the pocket pairs for the shove?
No, now. You don't care about
Okay.
when he shoved. You don't care what he does after you respond. Your decision's made.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Given the information we have right now, Mike's argument, and it is totally valid, is that when he folds this 23, that makes up for the dead ace that he often had.
Because I see. Yeah, because the dead money is now available.
The dead money is now available, so I don't need my coin flip. Because remember, you're not really flipping a coin against queens. He's 55 and
45%.
45 or something like that. He's 56-44, something in that range.
Yeah.
But the dead money makes it great. Now, the dead money of 23 is a lot. Is that enough to make up for you having 5 outs 5 times instead of 6 outs 5 times?
Can I ask a question? How did we get here?
Well,
Mm,
do we want? I'm happy to show it again. Would you like me to show the action again?
There was a fluctuation in the scalar field that led to a big bang, which may or may not be in a pre-existing universe that we have no access to with physics.
Yeah, I just love.
And then the rest is all just quantum mechanics. But other than that, this is what happened.
It's true, but what about the engineer theory that was in the Glitter Aliens films? I like that one.
There's that.
I'm happy to show the action again. Would you like me to show the action again?
Yeah,
Joey?
it's good action.
We get R5. We get a 3-bet, a little bit oversized. I called 4.
Do we ever shove there with the ace king up?
Some, but not 100%.
Here,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some shoves.
Non-existent. now the conversation becomes, with this shove, is this ever a fold or is it a call pure, considering we potentially have 24 big blinds of dead money in this hand?
Well,
And I'll let the other gentlemen summarize their arguments.
Yep, well, let's do, Joey, give your reasons, and if you repeat one of ours, whichever one of our reasons you repeat, we win. We get extra points.
in population, this is never a call full.
It's not a call for it theory. It's mixed with theory. But so we don't know theory really because you don't have the dead money.
Huh? Yeah, he
We
only
don't really know theory because there is no flats from this
Yeah, yeah.
bio.
Him just calling. Alright, I think he's gonna fold. Most likely, we have to anticipate him folding.
Yep.
So we're calling what, 71? Hey, we're getting, wow, we're getting 3-1. Or 2-1, so we need 33% equity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
against, we do,
And
even with 5 outs, we've got that.
does he ever do this with ace, king, and queens? I think that's really the question.
It is. I think that this. So I think there's a lot of KYC here. I mean, the other piece we left out is that player 3032 is a reg, and he's a tight aggressive reg, right? He frankly does not put money in the pot easily, which I think I dismissed too much because I was too focused on the dead money in the hand.
Yeah, if he's got a tighter 5-bet range, then you can just let it go.
Yeah, I think I'm showing this mainly because next time I'm in this position. The two things I'm going to think about are: is he playing some kind of meta game with his sizing, right? Which I think is likely here. I think he's playing a little bit of a meta game with his sizing. And KYC, know your customer. I didn't think enough about the notes I have in this player and what I've learned from playing with this player over months. So that's it. Anything else you guys want to add?
Yeah. I think that we can, even with a reg, I think that when player 7455 calls your bet, which is a GTO mistake, that player 3032 should expect that his jams to get called somewhere by one of the two of you.
That's a good point.
So his bluffs, he does, let's say he has ace 5 suited as his bluff hand. He's got the solver special. When you call, I mean, when you do your raise, no, he's thinking to himself, I'm going all the way with my ace 5 suited. And then this guy calls, he goes, this isn't going to work. This ace 5 suited is not getting through 2 players who have played this way. You are uncapped. And 7455 has said, I'm sticky. 7455 has said out loud to you guys, I have the non-union Mexican equivalent of jacks.
Yeah, that's a very good point. He is now putting his money up multi-way. We didn't talk about that. He potentially could be called by either of us. He could be called. He doesn't care about a slow play trap by 7455. He's putting his money in now. So there are a couple metagame parts here, and one you just laid out, Mike. I'm sorry, Scott, that point us towards putting this in the fold bucket. And so that's what I'm talking about, because I'm trying to enunciate and understand the reasons for the fold.
Right.
So, all right, I think we've gone through this hand enough. I'm gonna stop sharing and hand it back to someone else.
There's one other thing though, before we get
Sure.
rid of, which is, but in his I have no bluffs range. If you take my inference at 100%, give it more weight than it deserves. He has no bluffs. He does have ace king. He does have queen, queen. In my world, he still has queen, queen.
I think he's calling queens, maybe.
Maybe,
Maybe not multi-way. The multi-way really makes it weird. Maybe he shoves queens multi-way.
in my
He's
world, he's
gotta give me the credit for having some,
right.
cold four bluffs
Yes,
if he's gonna shove queens.
yes. In my world, queens are in this range. This is aces, kings, queens, and ace, king. That's my world
Yeah.
right now that we're discussing.
Yeah.
Now, we're happy to take ace, king against queens with some dead money, but when he has queens, I'm saying that player 7455 has an ace. Now let's look, is there enough dead money in there to make up for our dead ace?
Well, we don't
I-
know 7455 has an ace.
No, we don't. But we
There-
went through a discussion before this about
There is
why.
a chance, but you
Oh, yeah.
you can't just say automatically you only have
No,
5 outs.
right. No, that's a simplification of an argument that I made before you got here, Joey. It was one of the cases.
Yeah, we discussed that like previously.
Right.
And also,
So-
I want to say you can't player 3032. I don't think you can put queens and ace king in at full frequency either.
Sure.
There's going to be some tighter players who are only going to call those.
Yes. But we don't know if this is the guy. So I'm looking at a simple math analysis of one of the specific cases, and I acknowledge that there is probability cloud around that case. And that is
Well-
the case where,
The simplest math analysis would just be give it to him 50% of the time. How are we doing against aces, kings full, 50% ace king, 50% queens?
okay, let's do that one, and let's look at that one, and then we'll look at the other one. Okay, so I'm gonna steal the screen here.
Sure.
Share. Poker Cruncher. Go. Hello, Poker Cruncher. Hello, ranges that I'm studying. All right. Reset all. We're going to look at the two-player version to start with. He has got in his range ace ace at full frequency, king king at full frequency, and then he's got ace king off, which I'll adjust in a second, ace king suited, and queen queen. This is the range. Let's go to weights, range manager. We do this and we go 50%. This 50%. And this 50%. I did more clicks than I needed to now that I know how to do that. There we go. So that's his range. Our range is ace king offsuit. We start this and just do this calculation. And there we are at 33%, 34. And we needed, is that exactly we need 33%, assuming a fold from the initial raiser? So we-
I'll figure it out.
Okay, Now.
33%.
okay. Now we do this. Now let's do some card. Now let's do card removal. I want to remove a card from the deck. How do I do that the easiest way? I think I'm going to add a player and I'm going to give him ace of spades, deuce of diamond, ace of spades, deuce of spades,
Got it, 35%.
ace king offsuit. Okay, right. So we need 35% off. We need 35%, we determined.
Yeah,
We've got 34 against that range, so not great. Not bad.
And
But
then
now-
this is going to reduce us.
I know this is gonna reduce us a lot there, but I was trying to figure out how to do with the card removal of that.
Don't you have a way to do a dead card?
Yeah, there is, but what is it? What is the way to do a dead card in this thing?
I have never used. All right.
course I do.
Clear that. Clear that.
Yeah, there we go. So
Clear
there's,
the- No, clear. Okay.
there's
There we
that.
go.
We've got our weights. Everything is good. Those are our ranges. There's gotta be a remove a card. Oh, set card deck, dead live. There we go. That's it.
And just take an ace out.
Right, that's what I'm gonna do. Set deck card dead live, dead zero. Where do we change that? Clear.
Click on
Maybe
it.
you gotta click on maybe the card on top, right on the middle.
Oh,
Top of it.
Ace, okay.
Yeah.
Set deck card. To set a
Click
deck
that.
card dead live, click the button, then click dead card. Click.
Yeah, click that and then click a card.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
there it
already
is.
dead. Yeah, there
Right.
it is. Dead one.
Oh, the ace of
Dead
diamonds.
two. Yeah.
Alright, now you got 2 dead cards.
Okay, you're right. Let's go out. Clear. Clear. Let's undo this. Let's reset all. Got it now. Could have copied that before I did it. One more time. Range manager, aces and full frequency. Ace, king, 50%. Queen, 50%. We were
Wait.
barely getting the right money. Set a dead card. The ace of spades is gone. And give me every other ace, king offsuit that I can. And how bad is my world? No worse.
Close, close.
That's crazy.
Well, also with the dead card, it takes away some of his,
He doesn't have eight. No,
it takes away some of his aces.
it does take away some of his aces. Oh, right. There's his queen plus. Okay. So my dead card argument makes no difference. You're still 1% low.
Yeah, I think, I think it's a fold. But
Yeah,
the way, and we can go back to the old adage, if the solver is mixing, then we can probably overfold.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I do like these exercises. It's very important to understand what our pot odds are in this situation.
Right. The more
So even
queens
if they
he
have
has,
it 75%.
Yeah.
We're only barely getting 35.
Yeah, the big unknown is the big chunk of dead money.
Yeah.
That is what makes going through equity analyzer interesting.
I'm gonna give us back the ace of spades and do the exact same calculation, see how different it is. No. The ace of spades doesn't make that much of a difference because it makes his aces, it drops out so many of his aces. That he doesn't have aces when the other guy has an ace.
Yeah, removing 1 ace and
Yeah.
now 2 aces.
Yeah. Okay.
Only gives him 1 combination of aces he can have.
Blink. Okay.
So it affects his range as much as it affects ours to have
Yeah.
a missing ace.
I'll do the I'll summarize it by saying this. So there is a concept that Peter Clark talks about a lot, which I think is important. I mean, there is this kind of sense of fortune reversal, right? So you've got an extremely strong hand, and now you've been shoved on in a very interesting, unconventional spot. You have to reassess the equity of your hand. It is an extreme fortune reversal.
Say that again.
You have to reassess the equity of your hand in game.
Yes.
It is an extreme fortune reversal, is the term that Peter Clark uses. I do have a poker crush on Peter. That's correct, Scott.
And in this situation, how does that fortune reversal apply? Like, what's the message?
Well, the message is that your hand is, I mean, to me, your message is your hand is downgraded. And you need to understand, you need to then look at other deciding factors. It's no longer automatically, I want to get this in free.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It now
Okay.
becomes, we need to understand the other decision points in this hand that we have in front of us and make the decision. So the decision points to me are what we talked about, which is, okay, is card removal important? Because this guy flatted, that's weird. What is that range? And this is KYC. What is the player profile of this player, which I talked about, which really pointed us towards fold. And the metagame, is he playing a metagame here? And have we seen him play this metagame before?
Right.
With his preflop sizing.
And then the other piece for that Joey wasn't here, my other argument that I still hold. I've given up my argument of the dead ace that I was just wrong about, but I still hold on to this argument. The first player, when we call and he's got his pocket tens, pocket jacks, pocket queens that he chooses to play that way, we now are no longer profitably splitting with the first guys shoving ace kings in his range. We're now, our ace king now is incredibly unhappy.
Yeah,
And we are not guaranteed a fold from that guy when we put our money in. His pot odds for he can puts us both on ace king if he wants and play accordingly.
okay, that's your point.
So that's,
I'm also going to add a slight counter to your counter.
okay.
I think you may be ranging him a bit snug because when you try to think what hands I might have there, you wouldn't have much more than like nines, tens, jacks, and maybe ace king. But in population, it is quite possible he could have like a queen jack suited still.
Yeah,
That-
yeah, so one part was talking about the player profile. By the way, is my mic okay now, guys? Can you hear me
Yep, you
okay?
sound good. Yeah,
One part in this is that we were talking about his player profile. And he has a tight aggressive brain that is not one to easily put money into a pot. And he is now putting his entire stack in multi-way. And I think that was an indicator too.
Yeah.
I think that was a moment of KYC that if I look back and had used some of my time bank, I would have thought about these parts of the puzzle.
and in the best of worlds, he has jack 10 suited and queen jack suited there, and calls or folds, either one. That's the best world. When he has king queen suited and ace queen suited, and he calls there, that's actually bad for us. And if he's got, and when he's got the queen, jack, 10, even 9, and he calls, that's bad for us. Many things are bad for us.
Yeah.
And 35 compared to 34 is not very good for us. So, okay.
Are you talking about odds 35, 34?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
All right, here's the next victim.
Did you have more than just one?
What's better for the group for me to do another and pass it on, or for
You've got it ready, do another one. If you don't have it ready, pass it on.
got a good bluff catching hand.
Okay, let's do it.
I will do that. I will share my screen again.
Okay.
You guys tell me if you think it's a good bluff catch. I think in solver we are indifferent. So we raise button flats. Heads up this flop. I think we mostly check to relook this in solver. We might bet for Schmitter range, but we mostly check. So he goes on the attack, if you would. That's pretty much half pot. We call P6, which is interesting. We check. He bets small, right? So he's down bet now. We call, and then he pots it. And we've got a bluff catcher, so now it's blocking the flush. Well, I'll tell you my thoughts again. This is a double paired board, right? So, and he's repping a two pair plus hand on jacks or queens, which he somehow flattened. And I think we get to bluff catch at high frequency here because of the reduced 6x, 3x if he has it. And on the double pair board, I think we get to bluff catch at high frequency.
Any player
I-
profile?
I don't know if this is a pure bluff catcher.
In solver, it's different.
It's indifferent in solver, okay.
So, say it again.
He,
Player profile?
No, I don't, I do those, but
No idea, like unknown, just unknown.
I know, yeah.
he probably kicks puppies. Um,
So I would start with probably betting more often on the flop. I would see bet
Okay.
and somewhat size up with these cards. I mean, yes, checking is definitely I think an option here. I would probably take tens and bet them more than I would jacks, bet those more than I would queens and, et cetera. And we know that kind
So
of,
yeah, we've seen that reverse lending a pattern in solver before.
yeah. Tens, we're gonna benefit from a little bit of, denial and value. So,
I can see that.
and I would probably size up like to half pot.
Okay.
When you check.
Why are
this
you sizing up?
solver-
Because of this flop, because of the threes and the low nature of this board.
okay, so the
I
Flush
think
draw
it's not a size up.
the flush
No.
draw, and straight draw of the boards pushes towards size up, and the pair pushes towards size down. But the fact that
Yes.
the pair is threes or deuces reduces how important the pair is, right? That's your thought?
Well, okay, now I'm sizing up to a half pot, to half pot. That means that I would also bet small, but I'm not going any bigger than half pot, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at.
Oh,
No,
okay,
I think this is a big bet board. I consider a big bet to be 75 or 60.
right, okay, we're on the same page.
I think I disagree with this being a big bet board.
No, he said it's not. He said it's not a big bet board, meaning that his biggest bet is gonna be 50%. He's never gonna have a 75 on this board, right?
Correct. When I say size up, I'm sizing up from the usual 30.
Right,
Going
So-
any bigger.
yeah, so Joey, you and Larry agree. I mean, you and Mike agree.
Okay, I have a question. Larry, did you check this in solver? And is this a check range spot on the flop?
We'll look at it real quick. I think it mixes.
Right.
Or
Yeah,
call.
I think you have some C bets.
Hmm.
And then if you don't, I also have a population argument to still C bet. Because they don't bluff as much as the button is supposed to bluff after we check.
And I have a fast river conclusion as to why, and my river conclusion is going to be anti everything Joey said before.
Yes, this is what I was starting with. You start, go ahead.
Yeah, which is, I'm deciding to call this river on the simple heuristic is I'm under repped.
Yeah,
Old
I
school.
was gonna say that too.
Yeah.
Good, that's why I said I'm not sure if this is pure bluff catcher because
Yeah.
you're way under repped for what your hand is.
So this is an interesting flop, right? Where we now are like playing kind of a nuts or nothing game. We're checking at a very high frequency, but when we bet, we're choosing an overbet.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah. Very interesting texture.
yeah, this is a big bet board. Oh my,
We just, and then this is because the button, for whatever reason, in this condensed range, has a significant equity advantage. So any position player has a significant equity advantage, but we've got this none advantage. Because we
Yeah.
got the overpairs. So, and also this condensed range right here. Humans usually don't have this condensed disciplined range of 40 combos, right? They're
Yeah.
gonna have maybe 1.5 this or 2x this, twice as many combos at the flatting.
if
Yeah.
they play the 4-5, if they play the 4-5 as a call on the button, they play all their 4-5s as a call on the button.
Yeah. And they play all their lower pairs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they play them, they play 100% of them.
So we look at this range. Yeah. Yeah, it just. This is good. I think what happens is that a lot of these three bets fall into the flatting range, like around here, which is what he did. He had this range. A lot of these hands become flats. And probably a lot of these hands become flats in this region.
Yeah.
So there's the texture. So in theory, we get to flat here quite a bit.
Right.
We flat more. I mean, sorry, we get to check here more than we are anything. So if we check, we'll run through this. So we check. You check.
I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna jump in real quick and say my conclusion on the river is now slightly subtler. Call all your tens with a spade, fold all your tens without a spade. That's how you get your mixed frequency and intelligently. All right, go on.
Yeah, which makes total sense.
Yeah, that's my answer.
Which is
Fine.
definitely part of my reasoning. So he begins to get, he doesn't get his sizing, but it's not going to break solver, so we're going to give it a B50.
I think you're gonna raise a lot.
Yep. It's very interesting. We're right at the window where we don't. Our raises are.
It's a hammock.
It's a hammock, yeah. But remember again, I mean, we've got to adjust this to what humans are doing. Humans are not going to have this condensed firing range.
No, it's not a hammock. It's
So we call 6. I think this card's good because it reduces his sense.
it's not a hammock. It's a suspension bridge. That's weird. That's very weird.
So are we in agreement? Am I off base? This is a good card for our tens.
I agree. I think this is an irrelevant card to me.
Okay. I think this
Not
is
completely irrelevant, but certainly not something that you should be deathly scared of.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's being a good card. I may be thinking of it as a good card too much. I think it was a good card because it's reduced his nuts, his frequency of the nuts. And then he down bets, which I don't think is going to be a thing. Right? So we check. And he just, I mean, the solver's all over the place. We're in a very thin part of the tree. Excuse me. So we can't give him the down bet. We can't get, let's see what happens. I think it's going to break it. If we do this. No, yeah, we got the warning. You're in freak land. But we still call if we believe what the solver is telling us. And then 8 of spades. And again, I think at this point we have to take what the solver is telling us with a grain of salt because it's telling us to. It really likes to dunk out for 10% here.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense with that hand too.
And it's going to trap kind of with aces. What's its equity?
Well, when you make that small of a bet, I think you're supposed to get called by his ace highs.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
So that's why aces aren't doing it because he doesn't have that many ace highs left in range.
We really want to do in this portion of our range. So obviously we're going to protect them throwing in different portions, but it's really being driven by this portion where we have like our equity is like 50, it's like in the 60s. 60s and 70s, yeah. This is the portion where it really likes to put in this donk. But we can check 2, and then the question becomes when he polarizes. We're going to give him the 86. I think we're going to call PR. All right, I'm already mixing. And we want the spade. So, Scotty, you're right. We want the spade. Right here. What if he goes bigger?
But isn't one of our things that we've been saying, if it mixes in GTO, we should be folding against population?
Oh, yeah, but, yeah. I chose to call this time.
I mean, I would have probably called because I had the same thought that Scotty did, that your tens are way under repped.
Agreed.
And if you go back to the button, is the button supposed to bet ace high on the river? Or is that a check down?
He's not supposed to bluff.
Okay.
He's supposed to give up.
A
This is a
tiny
pretty,
bit.
we're in a pretty,
tiny
very,
bit of ace
very
queen.
untraveled part of the game tree. Sorry, say it again, Scotty.
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, we are in a very, very low frequency part of the game tree.
Yeah, because he also changed his betting from what Salver did. So we're like down to the 1% part of the range.
But, I think we're indifferent essentially, and I chose to call. I chose to call for pretty much the same reason Scotty mentioned, because we've got the block out of the nuts, which he is claiming at this point, right? He's claiming he's got some kind of backdoor flush with this sizing or full house.
Or a
Right.
6 or a 3.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm gonna hand it back, guys.
What did he have?
Oh, sorry.
Ace high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I for some reason I thought that players would bet ace high on that board. That's why I
Yeah,
asked you about that in the solver.
it might be a mergy kind of value bet, trying to get me off a chop, maybe. He might be thinking about chops more here than because I am under repped. He might be thinking about chops a lot here. Getting me off the chop. All right, guys, back on you.
Okay. All right. So again, I'm just taking kind of a somewhat recent session that I haven't really gone through, and I just sort of marked hands. So I'm not really sure what these entail, but we're going to find out. So here we go. Okay, looks like we're going multi-way with aces. Oh, okay, I remember this hand. So it gets to us, we flop top set on a really good board for us as the pre-flop raiser opener.
So you got multi-way, 3 flatters, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's checked to us here. I remember what I did here, and I don't know if I regret it or not, but I chose to slow play. And I think I should just be betting a third here.
I think slow play is fine. That's some frequency.
Like
You're
it's strong enough, right?
You're blocking the calls. Not only you're blocking the calls multiple ways. Well, you're blocking all the calls. Yeah.
Yeah, the ace of spades is a pretty significant card to have here.
Yeah.
It winds up checking through. The reason I kind of regretting it because I am so late in position. Like there's only one more guy left to put money in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only thing that I was worried about. But I also wasn't super worried about it checking through either. So I don't know if that's bad or not. Comes back to us now. I think we got to start.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, we now need to build a pot if we can.
Yeah, and I chose half pot, and we get a call. And he leads for a third. Now this is where I was wrestling with it. Can I value bet? Can I value raise for value? And I reopen the action here.
So, yeah, so the ace of spades and the king of spades are kind of important. Although we don't know what he has. Do we know anything about this? Can we look at this guy's stats? So he's played 17 hands and his VFIP is 47. So this guy's fish, right? I think that's even enough hands to say it.
What's that?
I think that's enough hands to say he's a fish.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's still not very many hands, but you know, you're starting to like see some trends towards fishiness. Yes.
I mean, yeah, it's a small sample size, but um, I think the ace of spades and king of spades is important. However, the one thing I would think about here is that what part of a fish's range gets expanded, and I think a lot of times it's suited combos. Suited combos are a big part of I think what the expansion is.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
it seems really nitty to call.
The
But
size.
then we got to think, what
Yeah.
is he going to? If we imposition raise, what is he going to call on a 3 to a flush board with an ace and a king? And the answer would be two pair are stat. We're blocking a lot of the two pair. He does have aces and fives. Doesn't have any tens.
And the size of his bet drove me to say, okay, I think I can value bet here. If he had bet half pot or more, I feel like then I need to just call.
Yeah.
Well, I just ran some math. I know Bayes' theorem comes into play here, but 47% over 17 hands is still within standard deviation of a standard VP of about 25%.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So not too much to go off of, right?
So
Yeah.
I think, here's the thing about this. I just started playing with a HUD a week or two ago, and I think I play a little worse because I'm paying too much attention to the HUD, but I'm getting it. And this is the thing I've discovered with the HUD, which is you see somebody starting to get a HUD stat that looks out of character. If you see any one of his hands shown down, that tells you so much about his stat.
Yep.
So
Good point.
if you see somebody who's starting to limp, they've got a limp strat and it's in the 35 to 50 range, but you've only got 20 hands on him. First of all, he limps, but that isn't a lot of hands. You see any one of those hands and it's crazy. His range is crazy. He shows down a jack six offsuit in that range and you go, oh my gosh, I know this range.
Go back and put your mouse over that button you just had over.
Yeah. The only thing is that with Poker Tracker, that information may not have been available to me at the time.
Okay, but still, I just want to point out that we know 4 of his 17 hands were way above average. Aces, ace, king off, tens, and king queen. So it's still very relevant that he could just be getting hit with cards right now.
No, Joe, we don't know he had these hands in 17 hands. With Poker Tracker, this particular note is through the entire session. This particular note of cards, because I've
don't you have Note Caddy?
Yeah, the Poker Tracker Note Caddy thing works like this. In the game live, this information will show up, but it won't look like this. This is what it looked like at the end of the session, and when you replay it in Poker Tracker, it shows you the end of the session version of this note.
Yeah, so this is not 17 hands worth. This could be however long my session was.
Oh, okay. Now, see, with mine, the Note Caddy would show. Oh, yeah, when you go back and review after. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. So I mean, I basically probably would have figured him to be an unknown with, maybe some fishy tendencies, but does the size of the bet make you does it matter the size of the bet? Should we just call here and never raise?
Yeah,
don't-
so
We go
I-
back,
that's really what it comes down to. And I think an important question to ask is, what is he gonna call with your raise that's worse? And my answer was 2 pair and sets.
Yeah, here was the action. We talked about the flop decision. Like I wasn't sure if this was very, I decided to check, which with one
Now
player.
that's a bet.
Yeah, I know, and I talked about that I was questioning how bad it is to check here on the scale.
Well, let me give you a quick heuristic. When you're called out of position, ace, king, X flops, and king X flops, you get C bets.
Absolutely.
So I definitely would have C bet this. Top set, sometimes you check it heads up, but I don't do slow playing 4 ways. If I have
I
a board I
typically-
can bet and I have a betting hand, I bet it.
Yeah, I typically don't either. And that's why this is one of those that I kind of mark just to see, how it went sort of thing. But yeah, I would have normally bet this. And for some reason on this day, I chose to check this one. The ace of spades was a factor. I thought that's just a pretty big
Yeah.
influencer on calling, other people calling. But yeah, you're right. I absolutely would bet
Yeah.
this most of the time.
Don't worry about what they're going to call with. Put the bet out and let them worry about what they're going to call with. Because as I've said before, you will be surprised with how weak they will call you down when you put a bet out.
Yeah. Once
And
it gets,
I would polarize more.
Yeah. Once we
Go
get to the
bigger.
second bet, closer to pot.
yeah. Okay. And he docked.
So here's the question I ask here before the raise. It's different than Larry's. Larry's question is, what can he call you with? That you still beat. My question is, if you raise and he 4-bets you, and he 3-bets you, are you ever going to fold a set of aces?
That is
Probably.
the question you've asked me before, and it's a very good one.
Right. And if the answer is that you are that you cannot raise this and then fold to a re-raise, don't raise.
Yeah, I would probably fold to a 3-bet.
Then you're allowed to raise it. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if you
think, I think the point there is that that's a very good question to ask yourself, I think, before. Are you capable of hero folding this combo? And if you can't find the foldable line, then you need to call.
Also, where does your hand fit into the range of hands here? I mean,
Very high.
Huh?
It's very high, but it's not
Yeah,
high.
he's got like, it's sovereign probably like in the 80s equity.
But
The-
it becomes a bluff, but it becomes close to a bluff catcher when you are, a bluff and an idiot catcher when you are 3-bet.
I don't know if he's close to 80. I mean, because there's flushes. He has a lot of flushes. He has queen jack for straights.
Maybe, I mean, let's not,
I think it's
But
more
belabor the point.
more middling than 80%.
okay, well, let's move on. So I think, the question becomes, I think, which is Scotty, I think asked an important question. I think the two questions are, what is he gonna call with worse? And can we fold to a shove? And, because the thing also is that if you're removing a lot of his bluffs, if there are any reshove bluffs with a super fancy play inducing a donk followed by a shove bluff, you're blocking the primary one.
Which
would
is,
be an ace
which
of
is the raw
spades.
ace of spades.
Yeah. So that would put me more toward, well, that's gonna put me more towards maybe a call, I guess.
Yeah, that's the hand that's the bluff hand for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Block
This is a tough
block the
spot.
nut flush, block the straight.
Well, this sizing, if it was in solver, looks like it could be queen jack or a weak flush.
Yeah, we didn't double reject. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Call feels really nitty though, doesn't it?
I
Sometimes a
mean, I'm
block bet
never
works.
folding it. Never folding it.
No,
You're too high up to fold it, but I'm not sure you have a raise here for value.
Yeah, that's,
I
that's
think
what I,
so. Oh,
that was my main question, besides the flop, obviously, which was an usual play. I did
Yeah, I
raise,
just come back to the question, I think, which is, what's he gonna call you with that's worse?
yeah, and he folded, like a king or something like that.
Yeah, it's hard to get called by anything, right?
Yeah,
He's either reducing or he is gonna fold to a raise.
Right.
I think a call is best.
and it's possible that you just have to accept the fact that block bets work and use them rather than try to figure out how to defeat them. Maybe.
Accept the value of the block bet.
Yeah.
The unseen power of the block bet.
In the right,
Yep.
in the right circumstances. And all the
But
way to,
I have to say on that board, I don't think that hand gets block bets when a straight and a flush hit on the river.
No, it doesn't.
If the river was a blank, that's a perfect hand to block bet.
it's not big enough to bluff somebody off an ace. And I guess he doesn't want to face a bluff. I mean, it's that thing of I don't want to have a hard decision, which is not a good way to play poker, but we know many people play it because many people at in this call, we have shown hands where they did it, including me.
next one.
Eric, you're quiet today. Are you setting up some awesome 1K hands to show us?
1K hands?
Yeah.
You're there. Just want to make sure you're still. Sorry I interrupted you.
Yep.
Rick.
Whenever you're ready, Derek, you yell when you got hands to
Okay.
show us. We will
I
do
got
it.
a big mess of stuff.
Yep. Yep. And if you don't get it in today, we'll do it next week.
Okay.
Or you guys will do it
Sounds
next
good.
week. I'll be fine. Okay.
All right, so you've got flat up on the button, yeah?
Yep.
Pardon me?
I was talking to Mike about the hand.
Oh,
So, I mean, we all know this is the highest check frequency spot in the world. In Solverland.
Yeah, probably more so if we were earlier and get flatted, but yep.
So this is the highest check spot in poker in Solver.
Is
Because
cut off versus button, raise, call?
Cut up versus button SRP, yes.
Okay. I didn't know that.
The
And this
global is
board,
like 75 or 80%. I don't somewhere around there.
on a 10-jack board, I think we probably should be checking pure.
Yep.
And then this hand can do a check raise, right? This hand's strong enough to check raise this board, but not against big size.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
big size took me out of my check raising sort of
love-
options.
I
think
agree.
it's-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now we-
well, on this board, I don't know if you have many check raises, even if he bets small.
Well, if
'Cause
we're
the
checking
10-jack
range,
the 10-jack just hits him so hard.
I think this hand does, but I'd love to see it in solver. I think this hand's gonna have at least
yeah, if
31% frequency of check raises. That's what I say. 31.
oh, I'm gonna
25.
say more,
Leave 25.
I'm gonna
At
say
least
more like
25.
15 to 20, but
All right, I'll go with 21 and Jeopardy your ass. Not
Do we have
Jeopardy.
a wager?
Price is
Do we
Right.
have a study session wager going?
No, price
but I
you.
think
Price is Right.
because we check range, that's going to give us check raises at a pretty decent clip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, Mike, we're both talking about this hand, that this hand against a small bet, not your range is 15% check raises. It's this hand.
No, oh, okay, I was talking globally, yeah, range.
Oh, yeah. No, globally, I don't disagree with you. I say this hand, my claim was this hand has at least 31% check raises against his small size. That's
All
my
right.
guess. And then I lowered it. I wanted a better guess.
So yeah, we flatted because of the bigger
like it.
size. If he had gone half pot, I might have considered, but certainly to a third, I probably was going to. Anyway,
I like it.
Interesting.
That's a bad card. Cause our hand only improves in a way that doesn't matter.
Do we have donks, I think now.
Yeah, I was wondering that, although,
Not sure. I mean, does it shift equity to the out of position player? This card. Maybe.
checks through.
And the straight comes in. That's an interesting spot. So the question is, do we value that? And do we block her or do we big bet?
I don't want a big bet. I wanna either block bet or I wanna check call a reasonably big bet. And I think I wanna buckle up and check call a reasonably big bet.
No, I'd rather bet.
Okay, and you wanna bet bigger, you wanna block? Or healthy?
Well, I mean, with a straight and a flush from the board, I don't want to go large. So
Okay.
maybe,
So if
maybe
you
about
block
6.
here,
Okay,
Joey, how are you going to react to an imposition 3x or 4x raise?
It depends on the player.
this player,
Unknown.
this day, this hand today.
If he raises the river, I think we can really seriously consider folding.
Okay.
Because players don't raise the river without big hands.
Yeah, I like the block. So this is kind of it's a little bit bigger than a regular block, but I'm gonna put this in the block range.
It's blocky.
Which means it's probably not good.
Yeah, it's not making a firm commitment.
Yeah, I
It's kind of
think it's
merging
either-
between block and value.
Yeah, it's like in the middle between a full value bet and a blocking bet.
Yeah.
Okay. What?
Couldn't
This
even
is
get
it.
value from a 9.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go 5, you may get called.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So the action was you checked, he bet very thinly, and then just gave up.
he bet power thin. He did the one and done, therefore he bets big.
Yeah, yeah. So
The
he-
check raise never gets called. Alright,
So yeah, so interesting hand. I mean, yeah, I mean, he would have checked back as 9, so it would have been the same result.
Yeah, okay.
one big blind.
All right.
Can we take a look at what the check raise frequency on that guy is?
On
on-
the last hand?
Yeah, on the flop?
We had no hands.
No, on us. I meant in a solve.
Oh, in a solver. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's,
Yeah, I just wanna do the little solve exercise, little solve argument with it.
So I think the thing to pay attention to is what his. Can we go back and look at his sliding range real quick? Sorry, Scott.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, Mike.
Oh,
Sorry,
you
I'm
can
just
apologize to me too.
in solver, can we look at the solving range, sliding range?
yes. There's his flatting, there's his button range.
Okay, this is a general. Okay, cool. Thanks.
What,
And
were
you
we,
then
were we
back.
checking pure on the flop?
I haven't got there yet. So Larry wanted to look at the button range. This seems really,
It's weird because it's a check that something's not right. I don't think.
so we're looking at the button.
Call
Yeah.
raise. It doesn't look like the right screen.
Right, that's very
There
strange.
we go.
I hate those colors.
There, this is the button range.
Yeah, so again, I think that one thing that to be a consideration here, I mean, he's only supposed to have slivers of this combo. And I just am reiterating the point I made before that I think we can increase this flooding range by 3x here, maybe 4x. It's
Right.
nowhere near. population is nowhere near as aggressive as they should be with their three bets here.
Yep,
All right, thanks, man.
agreed. So here is our C betting slash.
Yeah, so we have, we have a reasonable number of bets out and king jack can do all of them.
Scotty, I have a favor to ask.
Yes,
Or you're Scotty, sorry. I meant Mike. Mike, I have a favor to ask. Can you filter for top pair? Let's just look at what our top pair is doing. Just to get one perspective. So we're mostly checking. And we don't really care about our kicker. Okay.
our
Well,
ace
this is
doesn't, our ace kicker does it more common, does it more than our jack kicker.
Yeah,
We have that going on with us.
So one thing for sure, this is not a check range. Now, if we had raised an earlier position and got flatted by the button, this becomes way more of a check range. That's why I was saying, I think when we're on the cutoff versus button, we have it's not quite check range anymore. Not like it is when you're earlier position.
I'm not, we need to check that heuristic.
Now, the closer you are to the caller, the more you check.
Right, yeah, let's look at this guy. We can get
Yeah,
that.
I'm not so sure about that heuristic.
Because our range is tight in comparison to the button range.
Yeah, we've got a much more condensed range. Since we have a higher focus of overpairs in our. Yeah, you're right in this case.
So that's all the way under the gun. Let's just bring it back over to like low jack.
Maybe I was wrong. What was I doing? Statting Mike. That was my first one. And this is low jack.
That's high jack or low jack, excuse me.
Now the low
This is
jack,
low jack.
The low jack
Okay.
is pure check range.
pure check range.
Okay.
So what we found was, we found that, oh no, we found that under the gun had some bets, low jack has no bets, and cutoff has a reasonable amount of bets.
Yeah,
Right?
and
Okay.
you'll find that as we get closer, that this will start to increase bet frequency. And then
Okay.
we had 40% here in the cutoff.
Okay. Thank you for taking us through that exercise.
So we'll go back to our,
And we choose to check, a totally reasonable thing to do with the king, with our king jack.
he has big bets.
Mm-hmm.
What are the slivers of his A7 doing? I must have checking, right?
And against the big bet, our king jacks are primarily calling. I bet our king jack of clubs is the one.
Right, and
against-
A7, right? So he gets to go a little ham with his front door, but other than that,
Although he didn't have the club,
no,
Or
he
the
did
spade.
not.
He
He's
had
got
diamonds.
diamonds.
I think, yeah,
Yeah, diamonds. Yep.
which is not a betting hand, but we don't control his play.
So this is a good question. We do not have a high check raise frequency here.
No, we do not. But I also didn't, if I thought we were going to be checking range like everyone did, sort of. So I think that's going to bring this number down since we don't check range.
Right. So now give him the
Okay.
small bet. Give him the small bet and let's see what our king jack does. Come on, 31%.
You want button to have a small bet.
Button, 33%. Come on, king jack. Stupid game.
Yeah, none of the jacks. Jack just two pair better.
Yeah.
Top
Okay.
pair kicker just needs the flush draw.
All right. Good
So we
enough.
really want additional equity to do this, to play that game.
Yeah. Yeah, so did we want to go any further or, oh, do we want to see if we donk when the jack
Yeah.
pairs, right?
Yeah, that was a good question. Is that repeat jack a donkable hand when it brings in the flush and
No,
Let's change it. Let's change it to an offsuit jack.
offsuit jack is easier.
now we get donks.
Yeah.
And we get more donks and checks. That's interesting.
Lots of donks.
Well, I think the heuristic here is that it's increased our calling equity in the top pair region, but he must have, you know what I think it is? And you guys tell me if this is crazy. It's when we were looking at what he was betting, supposed to bet in position on flop, a lot of that was composed of front door flush draws. So when the turn brings in that front door flush draw that he bets at high frequency, we don't get donks.
Yeah,
Also, when the top pair pairs, what he's repping now becomes less likely. So our 10 actually goes up in value.
Yeah.
And we check call with tens, we check call with jacks. Our jack goes up in value and our 10 goes up in value.
I see your point.
And do we donk our tens there?
Uh,
Well, you'll go back to look at it in the offsuit version. You can go forward.
okay. Yeah, so
Checking.
the bet size should be small.
so it likes the dunk,
And it likes to check also. It's happy with both.
and it likes to use a 10% dunk, right?
Yes, 20%, 20%.
20% dunk. Okay.
Yep.
Cool hand.
And two things before we run away, real quick. I just want to make the second jack, actually, don't change it yet. Now you've changed it already. Okay.
No, I have it.
Okay, leave it, go to the river. Let's check and get bet at and see, we're not checking to check range. We're not checking to check raise. We're checking to check call, right? When he does a reasonable bet with our jack,
So his most common
Okay.
size is a B75, right?
B75 us and watch us call with jacks. Great, no raises. You need a flush. You need a
Can we
flush.
go to filter to look at what our yeah. So so on the paired board, we rarely are check raising with flushes. We really need the boat to check raise.
Yeah.
And trips must do it at some frequency because they're blocking the boats.
No, the trips trips do not love it.
Well, they're turning their trips into a bluff, right?
Yeah, ace jack. They're doing with ace jack, no other jack.
Well, ace
Yeah.
jack looks like it's mixing fold and call.
Yeah,
Ace jack is mixing fold and raise.
fold and raise. And jack 8 and jack 7 are fold and raise.
What's the blue for then? With the ace
Fold.
jack.
Blue is fold.
With the ace jack.
Yeah, you fold some
You're
trips.
you're turning into a bluff then, probably.
Yeah. Your king and your queen block a straight. Your 8 and your 7 block a straight.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that with trips. I don't want to,
It's turning its trips into a bluff at some frequency here.
I don't want to fold ace jack here.
Okay, we'll move on here. I did want to just look at one more thing. If we raise on the button or the low jack get called by the button, and if that, because we check range, how that affects our
Check raise frequency.
yeah.
Good question.
Let's start small. Oh, he doesn't really have many small bets,
No.
Yeah, now he's polarized.
and it does not really do much for our check raising.
No, because he's going polar.
Interesting.
Change the board, make the turn, the jack of diamonds here.
Oh, the turn.
Yeah, the jack of diamonds. Now we have. Now
How
we
did
have,
you get there? Did you want to get there with a bet size?
yeah, I want to give him the same bet size as he did before, the large bet that he did.
Okay.
Because here with the jack of clubs, we had no donks. With the jack of diamonds, we did.
Yep.
And I want to see who, obviously our jacks are gonna do it. Are our tens doing it? Yes,
Every hand in our range is doing it almost.
yeah, just. You lied. You don't have a jack. You said you had a jack and you lied. I think that's what our board, I think that's what we've just decided. Yep.
All right.
Tens are doing it, like, there's just no checking from the ten. Who's checking? Click on the check. Let's just see our checks. There is almost no jack checking. Over pairs. But even then, I don't know when we have them.
Some
Oh,
of your
yeah.
nut punches.
Yeah, we check some over pairs. That's what we do. Yeah. Let's see the whole range again. Yeah. So those hands do mostly betting. Yeah, there's not a hand that mostly checks.
And note the size is 20%, not 33.
Yeah, 20 and 50. Okay. That is a cool thing.
Interesting hand. Here's the next victim.
Yeah, we learned some things there, didn't we?
Did. I was surprised at the linear aspect of our betting frequency depending on our position. I have to look at that more in the future.
Say that again. The linear aspect of betting in freak.
Yeah, that low jack, we're checking range. High
Oh.
jack, we bet a little bit more, and then in the cutoff, we bet more.
Right.
So I should say C betting frequency on flop, out of position.
Okay.
Anybody else gonna go? I can go again if no one else wants to go.
Right. I'll throw a hand. I'll throw a hand up.
Show us
Well,
something.
Here we go. Here, let's hide known cards and do it. We'll do the next hand. It'll be a big one. Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. Let's do this. Here's a hand that we haven't seen yet. Raise to 3 big blinds, not 2.5, so we need to make our adjustments. I think king, queen is still not folding here much, against the pre, maybe it is. But I raise it, it's gotta be there some. Get called,
Agreed.
hit a king. I have the queen of spades, which means if I'm gonna check at all, this is a combo that can check, and I don't need to check. And I don't, and he raises,
Bastard.
not folding top
Quick.
pair.
Quick recap, Scotty, I missed the pre-flop.
He raised and I 3-bet him with king, queen.
And he called, okay.
And then he check raises me, which is very bad. But I do have the queen of spades, so I can't fold. 7, he checks. All right.
Hmm.
And I don't feel the need to bet now.
I think I'm supposed to check here.
And then a 4-liner comes, he checks. And now he has no 6s in his range. My king is probably good. He can't raise me. So I can bet my king for value, small, which in this case is half pot. He folds or he calls me with a better king, but I don't get check raised. So there's my half pot. There's his call.
Oh yeah, we saw this one yesterday, I think.
Okay, this was a yesterday hand. Okay, that was
Yeah,
fun. All
yeah,
right,
that was like, because I remember I was like, you're red, we were debating on whether you should value bet, and you bet, and I was like, there's your red line, and then he calls and like, oh, there's your blue line.
Yep. Okay, who's got a hand? I will stop sharing.
I've got. Man, I just set it to start. Yeah. So I think this is a hand where I think we're supposed to pass play. Oh, that's not what you want to see. Stop sharing. Share screen. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
We have the limper, so guess what? We're seeing a free, this is a bug, he limped. We didn't, there's no 1.5 there. So we see a free flop, we get trips. We check. He overbets, right? So I don't think, I think our SPR is ridiculous. It's 8, but 7, 8. So I don't think that we want to check raise fast play this when we get this overbet. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and
Um,
so he was a poster.
He's a limper.
He did limp. Why was it 150?
Yeah, this is
That tells me he missed his blinds and he's posting.
yeah, well, at global you don't post 1.5. You post a big blind. And I didn't have to put any money in to see the flop.
okay.
So this is a bug.
Okay. All right. So he did limp.
And that's why this guy was allowed to put one up, because otherwise he wouldn't be able to overlap.
That's pretty common though. If you miss your blinds, you got to post both your small and big
Yeah.
blind in order to come in.
Yeah,
Yep.
but the small blind becomes part of the pot. It's not a bet you have to meet.
Right. That's what's happening here.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe. I see your
Okay.
point. Maybe I don't understand it. Maybe you guys are right. Okay, so he overbets.
So I think that makes, like, if he had limped, I would say you could be more likely to maybe raise this hand for value. Whereas if he just posted and has a random hand, I think that should take raises away from you.
And also, in general, when they bet this large, we don't raise much.
Yeah. So now it gets interesting. We got calls. This is a very fast hand. Actually, he now down bets, but I don't think. Or what are you guys doing here? He down bet here.
It's gonna be hard to get all in against his king if he has it.
If he has a
Without
full
raising
house,
that.
he's not. If he has a full house, he's not folding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we have to raise it here. And if he has nothing, maybe we get one more bet, but I think against his king, we gotta get all the money in against his king. Then he's gonna bet, but he's gonna bet a king on the river. And his bet
No.
might be
No, we got to start putting money in.
now, okay,
You're against population. You'd have to check to him on the river and
yes,
take that chance. So no, against population, I hate that strategy.
okay.
I would just go to about 20 here.
You're not lukewarm about it. You're not
No,
somewhat
he hates. He's
finding it
filled,
unpleasant. You just
he's
hate
filled with, he's filled with rage.
pure hate. Okay. So I did not solve. I chose to raise 3x.
Nice guys. I like it.
And it's for, so it's like king or nothing here, right? Like he has a king, he's probably gonna stick it all in. We're gonna get it all
If he has the
95%
ace high,
of the time.
if he has the ace high flush draw, he should fold because his flushes, whenever you're
It's
not
not
bluffing,
worth
his flush is
much,
no good. You have at least a pair of deuces, but that doesn't mean he will fold the ace high flush.
And then, yeah, so this is a fast hand. The only questions, and he has kings, so we win a lot of money. The only question is really to me here. I think we slow play because he overbet, and I think you guys think that's the right play. And then here, I think it's kings or nothing.
Right. So we go 18, he calls, or does he jam?
He's short.
Oh, great.
And,
That's almost
and
good.
yeah, he had the king. So the only other question is sizing.
So his shove is really stupid.
His shove is very stupid. We love it.
He should look at this and go, yeah, I usually have the best hand. I don't get, my shove, you don't have many hands that you can call my shove with that I don't split with or beat me.
Yeah, it's an absolute hand strength polarization error.
Yeah, there's a huge polarization error.
Yeah.
Because he thinks he puts a full house in his value, in his strong value polarized range, not realizing that it isn't.
I will say this, there are some coaches that say your time more effectively studying should be spent on how to extract value from players like 2084 than in looking at GTO solves, because the majority of your profit is not going to come from solver versus solver play. The majority of your profit is to become from huge polarization errors like what this guy's making.
Certainly
And so
that's,
then what we should be studying is how to exploit these errors to the max.
Mondays, 11:15 to 2:15 Pacific time.
Comment below.
Click the link below. We don't have a link.
Comment below with how much you love our Monday fish analysis session.
Yeah.
All right, that was a quick one. The main question for me was slow play flop, and we agree it's a slow play because we overbet. And then we are very much motivated to nuts or nothing him.
Yeah.
On turn.
And that example of down
The
bet,
only comment I would have would be on sizing. I think I like about 21 a little better because it leaves you a pot size shove for the river.
Okay, that makes sense.
18, you're just a bit over pot size for the river.
All right, I can see that argument.
the one thing though that is clear was usually we see the down bet as weakness and he was not there. In his mind, he was not weak.
Yeah, it's not that was I have the nuts.
Yeah, his down bet was to induce.
We get the min open from early position short stack. King Jack suited.
Some three bets. Mostly call from that early position.
I'm
In
waiting for
in
Joey's.
in 2.5 world, King Jack here is a 100% call. There are no raises with King Jack suited in 2.5 world to this position. This is we're nine-handed, right? All nine are there.
I think it's
Okay.
is it all, there's 8 at this
There's
particular
8.
moment.
Okay, then King Jack suited is a 25% raise in 2.5 world, which
And I'm
means
pretty sure that the min raise means it's going to call more often.
okay. That will be fun to look at. Oh, we can't look at it. We don't have the 2. We don't have the 2 in there.
Why? We do have a 2.
We don't have a 2 nine-handed.
Not 9-handed.
Not, this is 8-handed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 8-handed, and we don't have we don't have the I don't have the multiple sizes at
I
8-handed.
think
I have them
if
6.
you looked at 6 max and made it low jack, and if it's calling from the low jack, it's going to be calling from these positions too.
That's not accurate. There
No.
are hands that raise. There
I-
are hands that raise there, but it's close enough to play that way.
I'm looking at 9 max right now with under the gun raise 2.
Oh, you've got that? Great, show it to us. I just don't have
Alright,
access to that one.
So under the gun 8-handed?
Yeah.
You do have access to it. It's free.
On GTO Wizard?
Yeah.
Okay.
9 max.
No, click GTO. You got to click GTO, Mike.
Oh, if you click GT, oh, that's how you get to it.
Oh yeah. Okay, good.
Okay,
Perfect. So let's
Great.
take a look. Let's see what. Yeah. So just
right. And at 2.5, this 9 max
Oh,
chart,
wait. Go over King Jack suit again. There's this. Oh.
0,
Oh,
100, 0.
here 100.
Queen Jack suited has a tiny sliver.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm hitting that 100%.
Good for you.
No,
What
I'm not. No, I like to call with the suited ones.
And the 9 max to the 2.5, the King Jack suited does it a lot. It's between 12.5 and 25%. In the 2.5 chart.
Yep.
I'm doing
Okay.
that one 25% for simplification.
Yep. So wound up flatting.
Hey,
Just maybe. Check. Half pot, or a little more than half pot. Short stack, broken stack.
I
Broken
think,
stack gets interesting.
I just call.
yeah, I think maybe just realize. You could check raise him.
What did you check raise more? I
You
would
could check raise
more
him and
against
get it
the
all
fold
in and
bet.
not be that worried. But yeah, I
I mean, yeah, pot
I
odds
like the call
against
better.
this set of aces right now. Your equity against your set of aces are like 45%, I think, or something.
It, well, also in the solver. First, he made a large bet, which. He might have with on an ace queen board. We do raise less against a large bet. And the solver always does like to keep the nut draw in a checking range at some frequencies.
Yep, that's what was going through my head too.
I like it. I don't like it.
Now dunk. Go about 4.
Anybody else?
It just makes because this is so good for our calling range. And not good for
Yes.
his betting range.
Right.
Okay,
WP, sir.
well played.
Get a call. And if he were to raise here, would we just call, or do we want to like 3-bet? Get
No,
it in?
we have
Yeah,
only
I
one
think you
call to
just
come.
call. I mean,
We don't want it. We don't want it all in.
Okay, yeah.
you have to give him to shove. You have to give him some imposition of raise bluffs, but you're blocking all of them.
Yep.
And it's time to lose.
Do we just flat out give up? Just say, okay, go ahead.
No.
Joey's gonna fight
King
his way.
Jack in a solver may call here.
Ah,
Let's talk about true EV, Larry. True EV. This is not solver. This guy is not a solver guy.
Right,
No, he's not.
right.
What is the true EV play here?
Check fold.
Do,
What do you
I'm
think?
wondering if we ever have block bets.
It
We
kind
have
of
the-
sucks.
We have
Well-
the nut no pair hand on a double paired board.
It kind of sucks blocking all of the busted F
Well,
draws.
the nice thing is if we block bet and get raised, it's easy.
Well,
So it's a block bluff. And his pocket jacks have to fold. And we beat them anyway, and maybe they would bluff because we're not calling a bet. You guys are calling a bet here?
against some players, yeah. And
Oh.
he has an infinite aggression factor.
All right.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think,
only
I don't think
24
I'd ever,
hands.
I don't think I'd ever call unless he bet like 1.
In solver, this may be a call.
Yeah,
And he
so
is aggressive.
I tend towards give up because we're blocking everything we want you to have to fold.
I tend towards give up because he called our bet on the turn.
But we need the master of true EV to tell us what to do here. Because Peter, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Peter, please comment below with your play here. Yeah,
I
I think
did.
I give up.
I checked. He checked behind and I won.
Oh,
Oh, oh. Your hand so looks like a queen.
Fully
And
expecting a bet.
Get you to fold a queen.
yeah.
Your
Here's the hand.
play
You want to
reeks
put this in the
of
solver?
queen. Sure.
I think in solver, this might be a check call at some frequency. I
Yeah.
don't know if it does any leads on the river.
go to a 50 big blind stack, but we can't.
It won't let us do a bit 50 big blind stack solve. Just
Not
only,
nine.
No,
Yeah,
they
not
only,
9 minutes.
they only do pre-flop for the smaller stacks.
okay.
You went slightly bigger than half, I think we said, right?
Yeah. But not, it wasn't, it was only a little over half.
So we check range. We saw that.
Got some raises. A little
Yep.
bit.
Yep, king jack of diamonds can do it and not do it, and it skips it
I-
more often.
Well, like I did say, it will check some frequency to keep in the nut draw.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And it folds the spades and hearts sometimes.
Here's where I wanted to see if we got donks and we didn't, damn
No,
it.
I thought we had donks on that card too, so.
But we can't even, we break it, don't we?
Let's see if it,
No, there's a little sliver, but I don't know if our hand falls in that sliver.
He calls with his jack 10 of hearts. Okay, so he's got a gut shot.
we got a gut shot against a made full house sometimes.
Wasn't it the diamonds that came in or was it clubs?
Clubs.
Diamonds came in on the, clubs came in on the river.
So we don't donk according to. And his jack 10 suited, I'm guessing has to bet, right? Yeah,
As long as he unblocks your he's got to unblock.
right. Don't do it with the diamonds. Don't do it with the front door, back door.
Right. Well, the back door, you have a flush and you just and you're not doing it because you don't want to get check raised by a full house.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Your flush is marginally made here. And your diamonds are choosing not to bluff, but your other two hands are bluffing.
Yep.
And
It
are they
looks like
bluffing?
his
more?
preferred size is 50%.
Mike, can we filter for no made hand or trash hands or whatever, and then see where our bluffs are coming from? It's a very tough place to understand where to block from on a double paired board after the action in front of us. And so,
Well, you want to check king highs because king highs is the nut, no
Right.
pair.
okay,
They can-
All
they
your
can win.
counterfeited pairs.
okay, yeah, all your counterfeited pairs. Yep, yeah, so
And jack high checks at some frequency. And then
So we're-
below
if you look
jack
at the
high
whole
bets.
range of trash hands, we're not bluffing as much as we often do with trash hands, considering the action. And it's coming from these binder pairs, the other kind of figure.
So he bet 50. This is our frequency to call with king high.
Yeah, we do get calls.
Yuck.
Yeah, on paired board and double paired board, you do get the call with the nut, no pair. At
Yuck.
some frequency.
What's our equity then with like king jack with your combo?
How about 0 as a frequency?
Did I say I meant equity?
Sure.
26%. Wow.
No,
And we're
I
like-
think oh yeah, he did hit equity.
And so we do get to hero king high. So the reason is that of card removal with the double paired board. Is that the rationale for why we hero king high here?
I didn't hear the end of your question.
Is the rationale for why we get to hero king high here that of card removal? So we're removing because of the double paired board.
That's
And
what I
we're
think.
queen
It's-
pairs and ace pairs.
It's more about connectivity. And when there's paired boards and double paired boards, and they bet, they have actually less connectivity with the board, which gives our our top unpaired hands fall within MDF.
All right.
They have their,
because both sides lack connectivity on a paired or
Yeah.
double paired board.
in this board, because flushes don't bet. He has his aces to bet. He might be betting his queens. But everything else is a bluff in the world. Every other
Yeah.
pair. Except for pocket kings, and you block that. You know, and pocket kings don't want to bet.
Interesting hand.
Yeah, queens
Oh,
don't.
calling with nine. Oh, 9-9 is a weird full house, but 10-10. 10-10 has some calls.
Well, now this isn't our call range.
Oh.
He had it on the under the gun bet range.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to see how often, if they were betting queens all the time, or, but yeah,
No, most queens mostly don't bet.
yeah. But yeah, the queen pairing on the turn, I was under the impression that that could be a donkable card for us.
Yep.
Well, I thought so too, because typically when the second card pairs, we get dunk bets.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're far off on thinking that.
I don't think we saw this one yesterday. We might have. If we did, we will cancel it. Raise from. Yes, real early. Raise from the pre. Low jack -1 and a call. Seems like tens are gonna do a lot of calling here, not three betting.
Yeah, it mixes.
Right, mixes. I go for the three bet this time. Get the fold we want. And then that.
That is weird.
That is the signal that is aces. That doesn't mean it's aces, but that's the aces signal. Second hand low. But
Um,
we've also seen people play other pocket pairs this way.
Well, I don't think it signals that he has aces.
Okay, good enough,
It's so small, I'm just calling.
right?
Yeah, I think you are deep enough where you can actually, even if he shows you aces, I think you can call here.
I can set mine, right?
oh,
What a great flop. Unfortunately, it does set up, it gives him sets to all the pairs that I thought I was beating that he had. Check. Big bet,
Just call.
yep. Check. And now I've got 61 left. So now is it a fold? Is it a fold now?
very tough to fold in this situation. I don't know.
Percent.
Very tough spot. So he's claiming he has aces.
Assuming he
I
has
never
an
like aces
don't have enough.
are nothing. Maybe sevens, eights, and nines, but I don't think top pair off the 7, 8s, and 9s are going to have the back raise.
If there's any chance he has ace king or an unmade hand, it's a call. But if there's zero chance he has a better hand, then it's a fold, I think. But how do you determine?
I
Yeah.
think with the additional equity of the open draw, I mean, he's made it on purpose a very awkward sizing.
Yes.
So it's either shove or fold. I tend towards. Let me finish
I don't
my
agree.
point.
I don't agree. I don't think I need to just shove the other 21 big blinds now.
Is it 20? I'm looking
Yeah,
at some 10.
I mean, I can. I did. But I don't think I have to. I think I can call and then call off the last ones at any card that isn't an ace.
Okay. I think
But
he shoved.
I did.
It doesn't matter.
I did. Okay.
I think he shoved with the additional equity.
All right. Good enough. Who's up next?
But
What
you know you're
happened?
not. You're not going to do that too. There you go.
Aces. Of course it's aces. This was from this weekend.
Yeah, that's so weird. That's a very strange. Well, it makes total sense, doesn't it?
That's part of the 8 buy-ins down.
But what I want to address something Larry said.
Yeah.
We
Uh-oh.
have to shove or
I'm in
fold
trouble.
thing.
Yeah.
We have to shove or fold. is not theory. That is something people used to say, but I disagree with it.
But
Even
what are
in
you
a
gonna do
spot
with
like,
the last 10 bigs that you have left on the river, dude?
Hmm?
What are you gonna do with the last 10 big blinds on the river when he puts you in?
I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, but there's a non-zero chance you check and he checks behind too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not folding the last 10, but that, you know,
you're never getting him to fold.
let's say the 10 comes in. The 10 comes in, I bet. And then if he has the jack, I lose, which is fine. Let's say the jack comes in. The jack comes in and I bet. He's not folding for 10,
yeah.
except his pure
I
bluff.
guess it doesn't really matter, does it?
Hmm.
It's like a non-issue.
I looked at it and I went,
I
I'm not
mean,
folding the river. I'll
In
do it.
cash, it might not make that big of a deal, but if you're in a tournament in an ICM situation,
Oh, yeah.
I'd save those 10 big blinds just in case.
Yeah. And he shouldn't let me.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. It's a really kind of a non-issue because it's going in either way on the river if you choose to call.
Well, you don't have to put them in. If he triple barrels for your last 10, I guess in this hand, yeah, you're gonna call, but not all the time.
Yeah. And if it's an ace on the river, I could certainly consider, I could fold.
Ace or king.
Yeah, I could fold to an ace or a king.
What a weekend you had, man.
Yep.
You feel your pain. We've all been there.
I know. And I had COVID. All right. Who's up next?
I've got another hand, no one else does.
All right.
Okay, I'll share one last hand to share with you guys. Oops. Okay. I think, I don't know how I got in this hand. I have to remember. So I open this. This is, I don't think this is an expansion. I think this is just our button for the button. You get this. Well, I think this is, we're going to bet this a lot. Let's see what this guy does. So I'm betting this a lot. This
Mhm.
texture.
Yep,
And I choose to go a little bit more than half.
good size.
Calls. What are you guys doing here?
Continue.
Barely.
Continue to barrel.
Yep.
So that's the choice I made.
I like it.
I went big, close to pot.
That's what your value would do.
I'm with the ace hitting, and I'm just not sure it goes that large on the turn.
I was thinking it goes bigger.
Now, typically when a draw hits, we size down.
Yeah, on this, I know that there's like the completed equity there, but this is just so good for us.
And on a double flush
It-
board, we push up.
It
So
is. The ace is good for us, which means we're going to be betting larger part of our range, which also means we'd be sizing down.
Yeah,
How
good
small are
point.
you talking? You're not talking less than half, are you?
I don't know. Let's run it. See what GTO
Okay.
says.
Weird spot. So really the decision point is here. So we get there. And he checks. Is this a value bet? That's a fair bet. He's got a lot of suited combos that he's defending that have the jack, that have the king. He's got like king 3, you know, he's got king 3 hearts, king 5 hearts. He's got jack 9 of hearts, got jack 8 of hearts. Is this a value bet?
I think so. I think
I'd
I would probably go
still
60.
value.
I'd go
You're gonna
like
go
20-ish.
You're going 2x pot.
No, 16, like or I mean 60%, be 60.
Oh, I thought you said 60 as in pure 60 big blinds. I'm like,
No, be 60. So probably like 18 or so.
yeah, when you're in a spot like this, the question Andrew Brokos teaches to ask is how much will he call with the second best hand? So let's say he has 9-8 of hearts.
Yeah.
How much is he willing to call with 9-8 of hearts?
That's a good question. So like a 360, right?
He's
My
willing to
guess.
call- I expect he's willing to call, a pot and a half with 9-8 of hearts.
Yeah, if he has a flush, I think you would.
Yeah. But unfortunately, he's also willing to call jack 6 of hearts with that.
So yeah, the question becomes, is the third nuts good enough to value bet here? And I
I
think
think it's-
I knitted it up here. And he had a 6 of hearts.
and
What
did
did
you
you bet?
I knitted it up.
You knitted up and didn't bet? This is an example where if you ask yourself, can I fold if to a shove? If you can, then you get to bet.
Agreed. Is this solving worthy? Or you guys want to move on?
I wouldn't fold if it were me.
Do you guys want to see this resolve or shall we move on?
Yeah, let's see it in solve.
Yeah,
We had some
Yeah, I like this
third
hand.
side.
This will be, I think, good learning experience.
Okay, so we're clearly in our opening range. And like 8 something like that.
We're perfectly within our opening range.
Well, he's got his hand. Queen of Hearts. So yeah, I think we're really happy with this flop generally as an imposition play, which we are. We're not really happy. We're pretty happy. We've got a ton. We're got a very wide range in this configuration. So we're betting less than I thought we'd be betting on this, but we are betting a lot. We are betting at some frequency, including our combo. Our combo wants to bet quite a bit. And we do get big bets. So what's our global frequencies? So this falls largely into our global frequency of B50, B75. So I chose about a B50, a little bit more, but we're gonna go with B50, I think.
You went 75,
I think that's,
I don't think it was that large.
66, whatever, but it was more than 50, that's for sure.
yeah. Yeah, so I'd be like a B60.
Yeah, that's close enough to 50.
All right, so I'd B50.
And that's one of the many rainbow colors that you have, right? You have all the rainbow colors.
What do you have, 8-6?
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm just curious, what did he have? I think it was 8-6. Yeah, he's supposed to call up here. He gets some check raises with this back door, actually.
Yep.
So he calls.
That would have done very well for him if he check raised that. You have to
So I think
fold.
this is the first question we'll have. This ace come on, what do we do with their sizing here? In theory land. I like my bet in human land, but in theory we might see something different.
I like it. I like betting it in theory land.
So we do get big bets here. Question is, where do they come from? So let's look at our range of
There-
flush
There is
draw.
there is more small bets than
Yeah, but I like our hand in particular, I think loves a big bet.
So flush draw nuts, flush draw combo. So yeah, so these are all the draws, except for
Yep.
and we're pulling some big bets from here.
Click on the 10-7.
And we'll look at our hand in particular. Yeah, we get big bets. We get lots of big bets here.
And the big bet, we've got 125s.
oh, your big blind versus button. Click on reports.
Okay, we can do that in a second. And then we're over the hand and look at the ag report. So yeah, we definitely get B75 in. Which is about what I want, right?
Yeah, and like I was liking the overbet.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is definitely a large portion of what we're doing.
Yeah.
B75, yeah, we're doing more actual overbets. I don't have the overbet enough in my arsenal. I really need to use it more.
Right. And is the overbet the 125 or do we get bigger than that? No, it's the 125.
It's
Okay.
the 125. Yeah, I need to find that more, frankly. So we'll go with the B75. Let's see what. I'm just curious what he's doing with all of his flush draws here. I assume he's not folding any of them. Flush, well, these are flush. He is now a little bit. Okay, these are now obviously these are never folding, but down in this region, he is beginning to become a little.
he's only calling the ones with a pair.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you're right. This pair gives him enough equity to call. So the queens is a threshold unless you have the pair plus draw. Okay. Okay. All right. So
But
he
in
calls.
in population, I expect more players to call those bottom hands that were folds.
I think that's probably right.
I think every flush
Get
draw.
there. And the question is, this is the money shot. It is the 3 of hearts. I don't think he's gonna have any donks in any of his range. Maybe he does. He does. He's got lots of donks.
Yep.
If we look at where he's donking from, it's across the entire range, so you can balance it. But his value donks are his nut flushes. He's got a lot of nut flush value donks for D150s. He likes the value dunk his nut flushes. He's mixing that with some lesser flushes that he's donking with. And then he's bluffs are coming from blockers.
Yeah,
To
go
the
to,
nut
go to that
flush.
bottom, go to the real bottom bluff, the real horrible bluffs. What's that?
No equity bluffs come from like
Jack of clubs 5, blocks a straight. And is,
blocks the Broadway. Oh, sorry, blocks the Broadway.
yuck. All right. And then that
But the-
middle one, the middle, the finger sticking up right there. Who's that? Queen Jack blocks the straight and has a little bit of value.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so he didn't find this in game. Most people aren't, including me. And he's supposed to do it half the time.
Right.
We're gonna go back and look and see if we're supposed to call. See checks, and now the question becomes: do we have a value bet? Where's our value bet threshold with flushes specifically? And we bet them all, so obvious value here. With 10-7, we're supposed to be 87 mostly. B60 or B87, it's hardest value.
Yeah, 60 looks good too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the big thing for me here, takeaway is flushes are always a bet. It doesn't care what.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
may be influenced by the fact that she is donking at some frequency flushes in solver, so it's going to show up with, I think population is going to show up with a stronger range here maybe because we're not going to have as many donks. But also the straights get in there too. Like sorry, straights also are good enough for a value bet.
Also, put in the bet of like 60, and then I want to see what the threshold is to call a raise.
Call raise from him.
Yeah,
Cause he
So
can,
he really just shoves.
cause he shoves his 8-6.
And what do our flushes do?
none of
We're
them.
never folding a flush.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, this is interesting hand because of thresholds, right? I thought
Yeah.
there might be with us here. I thought there might be a threshold for the flushes to value bet, but they're just too good on a non-paired board when it's just through to a flush. So I missed value here. that's my big takeaway, is that I got to bet all my flushes here. And my primary size is going to be over bet, or
Yeah.
at least over half pot.
And it would have been nice.
Now, the only other question for me is if he did take a donk here, he took the donkey line with
I think you
his,
need to, call and not raise. If he, he's donking he's donking all in. What do you care?
yeah. So if he shot,
Well,
well,
he's got some non all in
check.
shove.
We're on this note, right? There it is. Sorry, we're in the wrong part of the tree. My apologies. So here we are, and we're looking at his donks. Yeah, that was confusing. My apologies. So he's mostly over betting if he's going to donk.
All right.
And what's his ace-6 done? It's mixing to checking and over betting. So if it over bets here, here's
I
the
think
trade.
just call. I don't think we jam.
No,
Thank you.
yeah, I don't think
I
we
think it's
jam.
going to be true. B141. So if he B41's here, where is our calling threshold with our flush? 10-7 is mixing.
Yep. So is Jack 10.
So let's look at it as a breakdown. This should be very linear. It's not. We just must have to do some weird blocking shit. But 10-7 seems to be where we get our combos, where we are a little bit mixing.
Yeah.
So the flush, the nuts always, and then it mixes it a little bit after that. So yeah, so we can go either way. I think the answer probably game would be, I would call if he dunked this. But
Yeah, I know
Like-
in game I wouldn't jam my 10. I would just call my 10.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree. So
there any
and my
jam below
takeaway is that
10?
I need to loosen
Yeah.
up a little bit. I'm getting a little bit too nitty. I also have hit some downswings, and the result is that it's changed my game and made me tighter.
Ah.
And this is a big opportunity lost to make a value bet.
But I don't think this is tight. This is nitty. Or scared. There's a difference.
Yeah, I
Tight is
mean,
more a description of tight to loose is not aggressive to unaggressive. And I realize you were using it as a euphemism, but I wanted to point that out so that you know which one you're doing. And you
well,
concentrate.
okay, let's elaborate a little bit because I don't think I quite understand.
Okay. If you want to tighten up, it doesn't mean you play less aggressive. It means you play fewer opening hands and you play fewer hands, but it doesn't mean that you make them less aggressive. That you don't turn your raises into calls isn't tight.
Okay, so maybe the implication is that tight refers more to our pre-flop ranges.
So, but
And nitty is,
Pre-flop
yeah,
and
so
post-flop
okay, this
ranges.
is nitty. Yeah, I see
Yeah.
your point.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to just draw the description, the distinction was not just what the words mean to be pedantic, but I want to do that too. It's so that if you are in a situation where you decide I need to change your play, you make a very conscious decision to say, I'm going to play more passively and let people bluff off to me. That's why I want to play more passively. I'm going to play a lower variance style, or I'm going to play tighter, when you make those choices rather than just things aren't going my way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think an unfortunate result of hitting a patch of bad variance is that I will become more nitty. And I think this is an example.
So I can see why you would in a certain game say, I'm going to tighten up. I know that why you tighten up pre-flop. Why would you, in what situation and how would you do it if you said, I'm choosing to play a lower variance style? What is the arrangements of players? What is it about a game where you say, I should play a lower variance style? And what is the lower variance style? I think the lower variance style is making fewer bluffs making fewer bluffs, right?
The lower variance style would be, yeah. I am not motivated to play lower variance style, but I am motivated to take value where I should.
Right.
I'm not motivated to do more nitty, right? But the result of being on the wrong side of the variance for an extended period of time is that I am making nitty choices, and that's
Yes,
a mistake.
right.
What I need to do differently is get back to where I regard for thin value. That's not even thin value, that's just clear value.
Yeah, that's value.
Yeah.
That was a scared check is what that was.
I agree, and that's part of the reason I showed it, so that I can think about why I did it and take the appropriate value line next time. Well played, Mike.
I have another one here. So this one is one that it's kind of it's boring because it's not a big pot, but I want to see what you guys think of this line. It's just kind of, it's something that I probably do too often. So we got a limp, king, queen suited. ISO, I don't think anybody's doing anything different there, maybe sizing, but get a call. All right.
All right, yeah, so I think the Jeremiah Williams line, B50.
Okay.
From a
Yeah.
small blind,
Yeah.
I
Did you
think
see pre-flop?
I checked this.
Did you see pre-flop, Joey? It was a limp, ISO'd, I
Yeah.
ISO'd in the small one and then call.
I like the bet here. He must have missed this flop all the time. There's only one card on the flop to hit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
I'm-
think when we bet, we're going to be betting larger. And that's why I think I like to keep this in our checking range.
Okay.
Would
Yeah.
you see bet this if you had 3-bet villain? Joey?
It depends on villain. Oh wait, looking at his stats. if
Yeah,
they're-
he has kind of surprising stats for his action so far.
Yeah.
I'd bet into him. I would just see bet him.
Yeah, I bet his frequency.
Yeah. I did choose to check.
Would
checked
we
behind.
say at a VPIP of 17 that he doesn't like to be uncomfortable?
Well,
No,
what's his limping
17
frequency?
17-14 looks very like reggy.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's
Yeah.
limping. What's his limping? Is he limp before? Do you have a limping frequency?
Yeah,
Stat?
no, I didn't have limping frequency immediately available, so I didn't look at that. But
Okay.
certainly I see 17-14 and I see a limp. I think that's weird.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It is
But that's
weird.
a weird place to do it, but that's a weird place to do it with aces.
I agree.
Yeah.
I would
Uh,
I would have bet it. But I
Now,
would have
I-
been here pushing the overpay advantage that I'd be uncapped overpay.
yeah, I might check an overpair here occasionally, but probably in betting.
Also, let's talk. I mean, a lot of weird unicorn things happen in solver when it's a pair 2 board, which ostensibly is going to miss normal ranges in most configurations. So there's often very aggressive out of position betting that goes on a 2-pair board.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. I think if my memory serves, I think I may also have been thinking about check raising.
Okay. No, that makes sense.
But it did check behind. He checked
Yeah.
behind, and we got that.
Weeze can bet.
We can, right?
Weeze can bet.
Yeah, I agree. And so this is why I brought it up, because I didn't. And he
Okay.
checked again, and he checked
I-
again.
We have a
check
marginally made
behind.
hand.
checking's fine. We have the nut, no pair on a pair board.
We can also win.
No, he's got low connectivity on this board.
Okay, good. So that's kind of what I was looking for from you guys, if this was justifiable in that, like, my hand's still like actually pretty decent, right? I mean, compared to what somebody's limping calling with, like, this is I've got like showdown value basically, right?
Yeah, in a small pot, you have showdown value.
Yeah.
We can bet.
Do we have to bet?
No, we don't have to bet. We have the 11th nut. The 11th form of nut.
Since the line we've taken so far is checking to induce.
We're not inducing. I don't think. I think he's bet already. If he's gonna bet, he's gonna bet already.
You do not check to induce population. You
Yeah.
do not check to induce a tight reg.
Yeah, I think you can just bet and try to get called by a jack
Or an ace.
or an ace that he often doesn't have.
Yeah, that he didn't bet on the
Often
turn.
That he
No,
often bets on the turn.
If he has something like ace six,
He might not have called.
ace,
bet it,
a
yeah.
middle ace.
Yeah.
He's not gonna bet it on the turn, but he'll call a bet on the river.
Bet it. And if you bet big, you have to fold to a jam. If you bet big. If you bet medium, you don't have to fold to a raise instantly.
And it just checked behind. It was boring, but like my line was again kind of one of those unusual lines that I'm not sure how terrible it was.
He is not a reg or he did a misclick.
Right.
It was a misclick.
Yeah, there are misclicks. They exist.
Well, it was a good check. It's never called anything, so.
Wait, did he post?
No, he limped.
Okay.
Yep, it was a limp.
Yeah.
So yeah, the passive line I was taking there was my real concern.
Did his wife jump in for a hand?
Yeah, right. Did my wife jump in for a hand?
Yeah. Yeah, I like betting as well up there. I mean, it's just,
The limp is less often a misclick. The min raise, there's a very, very natural way to min raise misclick,
agreed.
which is you're in another program. You're writing an email on a hand that you wanted to fold, and right when you hit return, the window jumps up on you.
Yep.
And then I'll look to see if I care. This 3.5 has got to be, that I have seen these guys being very willing to call larger bets. That
So,
I-
okay, well, this is interesting. So you've chosen to increase your RFI size because these guys are inelastic AF and you've got a great hand.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and as you can see, they're inelastic.
All right.
Now, I'm in three-way land. And in three-way land, we start with, there's a lot of or checking range from the big blind. I have a lot of checks, but that doesn't mean I check range. This board is not a very check range board for me. There's a lot they can call me with that I beat, and I don't mind getting money, and I don't have a spade. So I think I can bet this board even in this situation.
Ace XX and three-way usually checks out of position.
Okay,
But the next argument is it checks because the button will bet often.
right.
If
And
the
if it doesn't-
button is loose passive, that is a perfect reason to ignore the theory and just bet yourself.
Right. Which in this case would have been fine.
Okay, now you need to start betting.
I'm gonna bet, and now I'm gonna bet big because it's over or it's not. Good, it's not over.
Bummer.
But before we need to decide, now we need to decide. He does check.
Maybe check back since the flush draw did come in and there are 2 pairs available that you could check back.
Yep,
It's also straight.
straight come in too.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, skate.
Ace eight.
Hey.
Yep. Yeah, this is one that if you're not going to fold to a shove, I think I don't bet it. So if I bet, I've got to be willing to fold. So I bet. I get shoved. I change my mind. And I call.
Yeah, no.
Give us the reveal, man.
Love. Nice.
Whoa. What
Whoa.
is he? He's
Wow.
blocking a straight? Really, he thinks he gets to do this?
He has a straight blocker. He has a 2-pair and set blocker. And he unblocks the ace of spades, which he doesn't, I guess. I don't know.
Weird, man. Weird.
I
You-
don't think this is particularly played well by me.
I know, but well,
It's just played worse by
What
him.
part do you think is not played well? The hero call?
Yeah, I think at this point, if I'm going to bet this size, and I'm not folding to that.
So your pot odds is 30%, right? First question, is this an over or underbluffed line? The answer is it's very underbluffed. Do you have any relevant blockers?
No,
You're
No.
not blocking the flush or the straight.
I don't block the flush. I don't block the straight.
Yeah, so it's mostly your fault, but you made a hero call.
No, my name is
You got it
Hero.
right.
I was on team check behind on the river, but sometimes I miss value too. So
Yeah.
And I certainly screwed up a value bet.
Yeah.
So I kept my
Now,
mouth
we do
shut.
have one piece of information though here. This is kind of nice. We do have this, which is GTO says check range here, but we know not everybody checks their flush draw here. Okay. After the round.
I don't think it's check range. It's checked
No,
a lot.
no,
but it's not check range.
him. I'm talking about him.
Oh, okay.
Big blind. GTO big blind is check range. But some big blinds will bet their ace here. Some big blinds will bet a flush draw here. Right? We agree on that.
yeah.
Some. Okay, good enough.
Oh, okay, so you check the flop, that's
Now,
probably,
if he checks here after it's gone check, check, check. I think a lot of flush draws bet here.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
We've shown weakness. He can still get there and he can get a fold.
yeah.
That's a good point.
As well as the river, that he didn't
Yeah.
bet the river OP, so even more of a,
In his simplified world, no one has an ace now. If no one has an ace and he has, well, certainly the 10-8 of spades, but let's just give him, not the queen jack of spades. Don't give him a jack here. That is the problem. Queen jack of spades fits perfectly.
Yeah.
But queen 8 of spades.
Can we go look at your, okay,
Okay.
sorry, I think you're still
So
going.
when I bet here, his call makes complete sense. Jack 8 of spades really works here. That's in his range, but a lot of his non-jack spades bet this turn. Because I can't call without an ace and I don't have an ace. His mind. I'm putting thoughts in his mind.
Yeah.
So then it comes in. He has to count on me to bet. When I don't have an, bet my jack, which fits his story. I often don't. So that takes something away from his story, but not a lot. I think I think on everything I've been arguing this call, the check behind is better.
you think if you bet pot, he's gonna fold, right? He's not gonna try to
Yeah,
bluff.
I've got to give him room I've got to give him room to think that he can bluff me off a jack.
Yeah,
And boy,
So-
doesn't that bet look like a jack to you?
Yeah, so he is,
Just
He
with a
is-
simplified view of poker.
he is going with a sizing tail that he thinks he has here, right?
Yeah.
So the question becomes for me, are you better off betting pot and folding? with better pot odds, is this the right size? You're certainly not deucing here. You don't want to see this. So I think we all agree that he's playing off your size and top, right? He's saying to himself, no one is ever betting a straight or a flush for B50.
And I don't have and you don't have very many aces.
And now I know my showdown has no value, so I'm not calling. So I'm going to try to push this guy off his queens or whatever.
Or is jack that's better than my jack.
He's not value showing.
Right. No,
So-
he's pushing me. He's pushing me to fold my king jack, queen jack,
Yeah, jack, yeah, sure.
pen jack that I have that I raised in that position.
So the only question we don't want to be in this unpleasant situation where we win a lot of money.
Exactly.
On
We
river.
certainly don't want to stack this guy. That seems impolite.
So the question becomes, what is a better play for you? And so is there an argument to be made that a better play for you on river is to check back if you're in net land, or to go bigger, because that is what the top of your range is going to do. And so it's very fucking mergy with ace king, but maybe that's a better play.
I think that there is a good argument to check back. I don't think that,
Going bigger is the
I don't
answer.
think that a pot size bet is better. I think,
Sometimes that's really mergy. It's really mergy.
yeah,
So maybe check back is better.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a small bet does something good. And I think a check back does something good. And I think a pot size bet isn't better than either of those.
It also is an argument for a B50 with the top of range with your
Yeah,
ace of
but it
spades,
is-
jack.
I have spades. I have some spades here.
Yeah.
I can
But
get
it's an argument for like beating a B50 to a deuce. Yeah, interesting hand.
Yep. Okay.
What, can I ask
Um,
you one last question?
Yes.
What was your thought process getting to a call?
This was this weekend, so I don't remember it. But it's probably. As I go here. Boom, this happens.
Yeah.
It's 45 more to win 160. Why can't I do that math in my head? It's 45 more to win 160 when I do that. One, is he ever bluffing? Yes, because of my sizing. Two, do I down value his flushes? A little bit, because I think a lot of in game, I go, a lot of flushes can bet, do bet the turn. Not this guy bets all his flushes, but a lot of flushes bet the turn.
Mm,
Three, do I beat anything that he perceives as value? Yes.
Yeah, I think you got a pure bluff catcher.
I beat other aces, and he could perceive, even on this board, he could perceive an ace's value.
Okay. So you think you're beating value? You're out of the range of pure bluff catcher. You're beating value.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Ace queen with the queen of spades. Ace king with the king of spades and split. I mean, I hate that. I hate playing for the split, but I don't put him on ace king.
You show through that.
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah,
Just
so,
squeeze back, top to bottom.
yeah, so, yeah, so, I beat, yeah, not pure bluff catcher.
Okay.
All right. Anybody want to do a last hand? Got one more? Or do we want to be done?
I am heated out. I showed you all my embarrassments.
All right, let's see. That's a reasonable one to end on. Let's see. Tough spot. I don't know, with the flush completing, they would bet most of the time. It's a good line if you expect them to bluff river. Average stack $69. What the? There we go. Okay. Those are the notes there. Nobody's got a hand ready? 2, 3, 4. All right. I will open the door. I will open the room for you guys next week, and I will miss the session. Have fun.
All right, thank you, Scott. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time. I'll be in Vegas, not playing poker.
Oh, fun.
I'll be
What
doing
the?
magic.
What
Are you
the?
gonna get some time to play some live poker?
No, not for that one. Let me stop the recording.
Okay.
No, because I'm working and the time that I have off, actually the time I have off, I'm gonna have to write the next script with my partner. But
Oh,
they're
no
doing
worries.
poker this week. Stop recording.